All right, so we're live. Excellent. Give me 1 second, guys, while I pull up the video on my phone so I can keep track of things. Excellent. Give me 1 second, guys, let's see. While I pull up. Oh, here we go. Got some echo. All right, there we go.
Is the echo on my end or is it just an echo?
It was on mine.
Gotcha.
It was on mine. It was on my side. Oh, here we go. Got some echo. All right, there we go.
The echo on my end or is it just an echo?
It was on mine. All right, guys, I'm going to share this video with some good friends, and then we're going to hop right into this. I'm excited to be doing this. All right. All right. Let's see. Are we still live? Everything's still going well?
I believe we're still live.
Okay, just want to make sure. All right. All right, excellent. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do my little intro and stuff, if you don't mind. So, Yahoo! Welcome, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love, to Astro Fenixx, flying into the moment yet again and radiating love as always. And we have a very special live video in store for you all today. Cosmic Journeys. What the Sag? What is going on with this Sag energy, or just the energy in general? We have Chad the Maverick on the channel. Welcome, Chad. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
Thank you for having me. This is your friendly neighbor, Chad the Maverick, with the video collaboration, Astro Fenixx.
Yes.
Big fan. Great.
Thanks, man. I'm a big fan of you too. I didn't get a chance to watch your Weatherman transit video yet, but I'm definitely gonna take a watch to that after this. So
I'll have mad fun making those. Transit Weatherman.
Yeah, I have fun doing them too. So, I didn't do a weekly this week or last week. I have to just get into the habit of, I really admire people that just do it so consistently, putting out weeklies and dailies and stuff. I'm still trying to find my own groove with it. Yeah, it's a lot of dedication and work. So
it's difficult. The consistency is interesting. Like, I love when people are like able to just do it daily like it's nothing. Like, I have an admiration for the daily like stuff that goes up from certain people.
Right.
I try to at least cover every day with something, but like when people really do that, it's always awesome to see. But that's like cap energy type feel.
That really is though, and it's funny because I have my North Node in cap, so I'm going through like that nodal reversal right now, and it's like I feel like the cap energies. I feel like the latter half of the zodiac, like Sag, Cap, Aquarius, Pisces. I feel like those who are born under those signs or they're influenced by them. I feel like it does take longer to come into those energies because they're very mature energies. I feel like it takes a while to come into those, especially Capricorn energy, especially right now with the South Node there and Saturn retrograde and Pluto retrograde. It's like
it's a lot. It's a lot. This eclipse season was a lot.
Oh my goodness, it's eclipse season. We'll definitely talk about that. Well, let's start off. Just introduce what's your sun, moon, and rising. What do you do? What makes Chad the Maverick click? What sets your soul on fire?
What sets my soul on fire? That's a good question.
Yeah.
What sets my soul on fire is my own soul, I guess, because I'm a Sag, Sun, Moon, and Aries rising. So those are my placements. So I'm triple fire.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's a lot of fire right there.
Has some aspects with Saturn and Pluto to like, I guess, balance me out, but also be able to give me some push forward with information and such. But yeah, I'm triple fire, so it's weird because I don't think in terms of that until I interact with other people, and then I understand. Like, I have to like kind of interact with other people to understand that I am the triple fire source. It's a weird thing that I've like started to kind of like realize over time. But as of what I do, I am a astrologer, so to speak. Put out astrology videos. But before even astrology comes anything, I'm a musician first, so I'm a music producer. Um, that's the biggest thing. Music production. I'm a creative, weird artist, sad person.
I've listened to some of your music though. It's refreshing, actually, what I would say, because it's like
Word.
you see a lot of people kind of get into music, and especially nowadays, I feel like there's like a certain like, I guess, image that is portrayed that people follow into it, and it works out for them and stuff. But it's nice to see some fresh content out there as well. So
Yeah,
and Sag energy is very much so a very musical sign. I like to think of Sagittarius as the DJ of the zodiac, and Pisces is like the music itself. But
I can agree with that analogy. I definitely get what you're saying with that. That's pretty accurate.
yeah,
Pretty accurate.
yeah, because myself, I'm Sag rising, Scorpio sun in the 12th house, and a Pisces moon. So it's like,
Gotcha.
I already have a good bit of that Piscean influence, which Jupiter, of course, co-rules Pisces, and then I got that Sag energy. So I'm like all Jupiter, and I have Jupiter in my 10th house, like on my midhaven. So it's like I'm like all about music, creativity, expansion.
Yeah.
I believe that's like Sagittarius wants to bring the party. It's funny because like Leo can kind of be like the life of the party, but then it's like Sagittarius like really just brings the party. It's like Sagittarius is like, Sagittarius will be okay with just dancing all night, like no matter who's watching, and just like it's like when everyone else gets tired, so it's like, come on, let's keep going, let's keep going. Why are you resting? So it's interesting. And then I have Mercury there in the first house too. So it's like, and it's funny, when I was studying astrology and I learned that Mercury doesn't like to be in Sag.
Yeah.
It like I started to look at how I communicate and stuff, and I'm like, it's kind of true. It's like I like to communicate in these big philosophical, very metaphorical, poetic ways, very big picture oriented. I'm not really into small details. It's funny because even like I have Jupiter, which rules Sagittarius, in Virgo, so it's like I'm very much so big picture oriented. I have these flashing images and this great imagination, but sometimes narrowing it down and having laser focus is one of my challenges. But honestly, I've come to enjoy my Mercury and Sagittarius placement. It definitely helps me in my poetic artistry. So
I definitely, you said it's in your first house too, right?
Yes, in my first house. Yeah.
So like you embody that like Mercury. So Mercury's on your ascendant.
Yes.
So yeah, you're kind of like meant to be the messenger, and in a lot of senses, from just picking up on what you said with that, like with Sag there, it's kind of like there's things that could be said that are like prophetic. I'm not saying a prophet, but you get what I'm saying, like a prophetic type of energy that can come from that, just because like Mercury's right there as like the distributor of like that information. But as you said, with poetics and stuff like that, it definitely is going to shine through, because it's almost like backwards as to like the detail would be. It's like the other end of the spectrum of the detail, which is kind of like the Sag and like Gemini axis overall. Because like you said, it's the big picture, finer detail, and it's like, it's just weird how it works. It's always
it is weird how it works. I find that the Sag Gemini opposition is one of the most playful oppositions. I don't think it's as like, it's certainly not as crazy as Capricorn and Cancer, and or Leo and Aquarius. But I find that the Sag Gemini opposition, like, I find like it's very playful, and they seem like they genuinely kind of get along compared to some of the other oppositions. I myself, I don't have like any Gemini energy, so which I think they say that usually if you have like an empty house, it means that you've kind of mastered that in a past life and stuff.
That's the thing for it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I definitely have always had this knack of communication, and sometimes I've wondered if my words are well received or if I'm being too fantastical with my words. But like for me, it's like I love poetry. When I was a kid, I used to read a lot of books that will take me on these great adventures, and of course inspired me to want to be a writer, and I still want to. I haven't written any novels, like, or at least physically or anything like that, but definitely have been getting into poetry. I actually just solidified the date of my publication of my next poetry book, which is going to be awesome. But
Hey.
I've been getting into spoken word poetry too. I think that that's really interesting. And I've gone to like one place, like, out in the real world, and actually did some spoken poetry. I haven't done that as much. I'm still trying to get out of my
Yo,
shell, get out of hermit
I
mode.
know, nah, I totally feel you. It's hard to get back out to like perform if you haven't in a while. Cause it's like that first time you're like, am I supposed like what am I supposed to do? What am I, but I feel you. And I think it's especially because you're 12th house Scorpio too. Cause those
Oh my goodness.
things are mad personal. And then you're supposed to just like be all sagged out when it's time. I understand, like I get what you're saying. It's like coming from such a personal spot, having to like display and aspect that to people.
Yeah, it's intense. I mean, it's funny because I've talked to Spells Inc. quite a bit, which he's like on Instagram and YouTube and
Okay,
stuff like that. And he's told me that it's like, yeah, you need to get more into your Scorpio energy because you're like all Sag and Pisces. I'm like, it's so easy though. It's like when you have a moon, Pisces moon in the 4th house, and then Scorpio 12th house, it just kind of comes out subconsciously. I was like, I'm aware of it, but like sometimes I'm sitting there like, wow, I really can be melodramatic. And it's like things could be like going well, perfectly fine and stuff, but then I'll take the smallest little things personal and to heart. And it's really, I like to think it's because I care a lot. But then like there are other times where it's like, since my sun is like, behind my ascendant and behind my Mercury, it's like I really like to feel out discussions and conversations. Like I'm always constantly playing conversations in my head before they actually happen. And like 3% of what I tell myself in a conversation or that I'm trying to project onto future happens. It's like I build up these expectations and then it comes, and then like sometimes I feel like I'm like deflated, but then other times it's really like, oh wow, this turned out better than I expected. But I do kind of take things to heart. That's honestly kind of a Scorpio tendency.
I was just about to say, I was like, that's the Scorpio, like
yeah.
So what I have Venus in Scorpio, so like I understand.
Okay.
I get Scorpio energy. It's like it's something that brews up. It's like boiling. It's like you just feel something boiling and you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And it's like, or you ever like sit down in a car and like, but you don't know like the car seat heat's on, and you just like sitting there and like the seat just heats up over time, and next thing you know, you're like, why is it so hot? Like, what's going on?
Exactly. Like I didn't know. I turned the seat warmer on, and I wanted it to get hot, but I didn't want it to get too hot. That's the weird thing about Scorpio too. It's like Scorpio can meet it's ice, but it's like simultaneously boiling water. There's almost like no swing.
Ice is technically freezing. I mean, like the freezing is technically like heat. It's I forgot the scientific thing, but it's technically like I can't remember the science behind it.
No, I know what you're saying because you can get freezer burn. Like you can get burned by ice.
Yes, thank you. Cool. Yeah, freezer burn, that type of thing. If you keep your hand in there and you pull it out, it'll burn instead. So I forgot the exact science behind it, but still, like that's the type of ice that is. You know what I'm saying?
That is crazy how that works, right? It's like it's so cold that it burns.
Yeah.
That's that Scorpio energy, and it's as a Scorpio, I'm kind of like, well, thank God, because we don't have a lot of major energies coming to Scorpio for like a while. Like Jupiter left Scorpio, which Jupiter and Scorpio, like it was nice. It was a really big, Yeah, for me, it was like this spiritual revelations upon spiritual revelations. It was like so much, a lot of like my psyche and like digging into my psyche just sort of expanded. But it's like, Jupiter is a very expansive energy, but it also does contract. That's the other thing about it.
Yeah.
Not only that, but Jupiter has the most moons and satellites out of any planet. So there's a lot of different intricacies with Jupiter that we don't really take into consideration.
Like
so when Jupiter went into Scorpio, it was like drawing out all of these different intricacies within every one of us. And we're just diving into these waters like, oh, I didn't know this was here. I didn't know that was there. So it was great for healing. But I am happy that we're not having any major energy coming into Scorpio for a while. So
no, I feel you. I definitely understand that. But I was asking because right now I'm in Jupiter and Sagittarius right now. So
yes.
and I'm a Sag, so like Jupiter's already hit my Sun and Moon. I
What
think
degree is your sun and moon?
my 18 degrees Sun, 19 degrees Moon.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Wow, so you're a new moon.
I'm a new moon,
A
like,
new moon baby.
and
Excellent. That's cool.
Palace Athena on my Sun and Moon. So like it's like right before my Sun is Palace Athena.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like,
But that's cool. That means like in this life, it's like a new chapter, like a whole new beginning for you. It's like new moons, it's
yeah,
like you're finishing up a new cycle in like your soul's journey, and like you're just this is like a whole new adventure. And of course Sagittarius rules the adventure. So that's really dope.
it's
Really dope.
an interesting life, as I like to put it. Like I love saying it because people ask me, I'm just like, it's interesting life. Like I can't sit here and explain to you what goes on a day-to-day basis because my brain doesn't work like that. Like I see someone, and I think the question I hate most is when someone's just like, "Hey, what did you do today?" And I'm like, "Huh?"
I know. I feel you too. I think it's probably partly because my ascendant and my Mercury's there, and now my progressed sun is in Sagittarius. It's like at 0.2 degrees. So I'm like all Sag right now in many ways. And it's interesting because I don't really like that question either. It's like what did you do today? And I'm like, it's kind of a weird question. It's like, how can you encapsulate like what you did in a day, like in like these short little bursts of
in like 2
conversation? Because
sentences, like what did I do? Like,
yeah, because on the surface, people may see like, oh, you went to work, you came home, you ate, but there's so many other things that happened, so many other like pockets of adventure that happen. And I think what happens with Sag is that sometimes Sag feels alienated because they want to communicate it, but they don't know how to.
damn.
Yeah.
That's the whole fact. No, it's so true. It's like, yo, I think, and that's where Gemini is a sister sign because Gemini knows how to relate to everyone, but they don't
Right.
get deep per se. Not, I mean, on the surface level, right? But like on the other end, Sag is the deep, but it's like I'm trying to like explain to you this thing, but I don't know how to meet with you at this so we could talk about it.
Exactly.
So it's like either Sagittarius are really. That's why there was we get the archetype where we're like boastful or we push too much, and people are like, "Whoa, that's a lot." Yeah, like or it's the other way around where we're like super quiet and everyone's like, because this is what happens to me all the time. It's like, hey, what's wrong? Like, are you okay? It's like, no, I'm good. Like, there's a language I can't. There's a miscommunication between where we're at.
Yeah, I felt like miscommunication is something that Sag just have to deal with, and it's not even necessarily that. I mean, I feel like Sag like probably knows to themselves it seems simple how to communicate what they're feeling and what they're seeing because Sagittarius is the seer. Like Sagittarius sees all this energy. It's a very visionary kind of energy. So it's like, when you're communicating with other people that don't necessarily have that visionary energy, it can be a little bit difficult to where sometimes you may come across as very blunt, but then other times it's like you're kind of taken back and you're a little bit more reserved. And I mean, you got to remember, Sagittarius is right next to Scorpio, so I feel like the signs that are right next to each other, like they're very much so alike. Different ways. Like Sag and Capricorn are very much alike. Sag and Scorpio are very much so alike because the
break
energies.
down my like little breakdown about like how I view it. So like, because it's really similar to that. So my whole thing when it comes to it, this is even how like I like pay attention to how energies work in general. But if you really notice, like every sign kind of leads into the next sign. Like the beginning of so let's say the beginning of Sagittarius, like the 0 degree Sagittarius, is the culmination of the last 29 degrees that Scorpio experience. It's just the new set of that next energy, and it's like the next phase. Like they give birth to one another, almost like it's like a lineage. It's like 12. Even if you go like it's like a 12-year lineage, it's like everyone leads into the next one, and then the next one has to like go about that time frame or go about whatever the times are making them do.
Right. No, that definitely makes
Like,
sense.
I know it's hard to like. I know you're gonna get it more so, but it's hard to.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, because I
But
mean,
it's
it's like there's no the way I almost see it is like we look at the 12 signs, we look at the 12 houses and stuff like that, and it's like I think a lot of times people, especially in this 3D sphere, they like definition. They like there to be clear lines and divisions between things. But with the zodiac and really with anything in life, honestly, there's no clear division. There's no true line. There we only perceive it as a line. And of course, Sagittarius being that mutable fire energy, it's very perceptive. But the energies do flow into each other. It's not like once you get to 0, 1 degree Sag that you're done with the Scorpio energy. No, it transforms. It moves into Sag. It's a flow. It's like if you look at if you go out and look at the ocean, you can't really tell the difference between, or just looking at it. You can't really tell the difference between two different bodies of water. Another natural phenomenon, and stuff like that. When you kind of but you get what I'm saying? Like you can't really tell the difference. Or it's like if you go out and look at land, like perfect example, like when people get into political debates and stuff like that, I'm just like, if I went up in a plane, I can't tell the difference between the state that I live in and the state next to me. There's no line.
There's no
they flow into each other, and that's how astrology works. They all flow into each other. So it's almost like we have 12 divisions and 12 states, 12 states of consciousness, but it's really all a part of one. And that's the thing that I feel like astrology. That's the direction I feel like astrology needs to go. Is that when people say say I'm a Scorpio, it's like, no, I'm not a Scorpio. I represent the Scorpio energy. I'm not solely Scorpio. I might not have any, energies in Gemini, but that doesn't mean that I don't have Gemini energy within me.
For sure.
So, and then this is why it's important to communicate, and this is why it's important to get to know other people, because then if you meet someone with energies that you don't have, they typically bring that out within you because they're a mirror. So naturally, that part of yourself, which will be more comfortable with that mirror, is going to come out and say hello. It's like, hey, what's up? What's going on? So.
Nah, for sure. And I think so for example, I noticed this a lot personally for myself because I have an Aries rising, right? So it's I understand I'm not a Sag, but I personally be I am a Sag. I'm a Sag. And the only reason why I say it is because I'm a 9th house sun and moon. With an Aries rising.
Right. So you actually can say it though, because
that's the only reason why I do. No, I get what you're saying. That's the only reason why I'm yo, if it was something else, if I had a different moon sign, I wouldn't say that. But because I do have it all there, I'm it's kind of just what that is in my circumstance. But because of that, my houses align with how houses pretty much show up. So it's interesting because Gemini season will start. I won't talk to certain Gemini people, and they'll just start popping up. Or I'll meet someone, they're just oh, I'm Gemini. I'm all right, cool, whatever. Last month of Cancer season, right? I come back, I end up seeing some Cancer I haven't seen in a year. I was hanging out with my family. She's a Cancer, the whole entire day. It's just weird because situations like that show up, and I think it shows up for everyone. It just depends on how everyone's energies work personally, because you attract pretty much what you need to interact with at any time. You know what I'm saying?
True. Absolutely. Yeah, this Cancer season, it was a deep one. It was a very deep one. I mean, you have the North Node there, which was just really unlocking this spiritual potential for everyone to heal themselves and to really show more compassion for themselves. But and it's funny because I didn't cry as much during Cancer season as I thought I would. But there were just serious moments where I was just really melodramatic. And for me, Cancer's my 8th house, so it was even crazier.
Oh,
and
I even think about that. Yeah.
And the other thing about it was these recent eclipses we had. So that new moon solar eclipse in Cancer
was in your 8th house?
Yeah, it was in my 8th house. It was on the cusp of my 8th house. And I also have my South Node in Cancer at 10 degrees. So that solar eclipse was right on top of my South Node.
Wow. That's
Honestly, there are really no words to encapsulate what I'm still feeling it. I was like,
yeah.
I don't even know what happened. I was like, I went through it and I kind of like woke up like it doesn't really, it feels like I just woke up actually from this eclipse season. Like I felt like,
Yeah.
not that I wasn't aware, but it did feel like I was kind of like sleepwalking, but it was lucid. And I was just like, what is going on? This is a massive purge. Like
it was like that for me for a lot of degrees. And it's my fourth, but like you're like it's on my north node, on your south node. I'm like, I can only imagine because that's still in you right now. That hasn't. Sheesh, fam.
Yeah, it's
it'll go in a weekend. It'll probably start to like because the way even when I did the transit before that I did today, like in about a week is when it'll just like emerge and intertwine with you. And then you'll be fine. But I understand that first initial heaviness, especially with the eclipses too, those degrees are too close. Like,
yeah, like when I looked it up to see like what degree is this eclipse on, and I was like, are you kidding me? I'm talking to my guides, and they're kind of laughing in the background because my guides are savages, and they're just like, don't worry, you'll be fine. And I'm like, this eclipse is on my south node. I'm sitting here like, am I gonna die? Like, is something bad gonna happen to me?
On the sun.
Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. And it's like, it was weird because the day itself was rather calm. The day itself was rather calm. But it was literally like I was like in the middle, I was like in the eye of the storm. Then when that lunar eclipse came, it just kind of, I thought that was gonna be a little bit easier because it's not quite on my south node, but of course Pluto's involved. And I was like, well, it's gonna sextile my sun in Scorpio and sextile my moon in Pisces, so it won't be that bad. But honestly, the lunar eclipse, I underestimated these eclipses. I completely underestimated them, which is probably a good thing. But I
did too. No, I get it because I was like, because at first for me, I was trying to do the channel, right? And I was like, I'm gonna make a 3-part series about the eclipse and like make sure everyone is in the know and blah blah blah. And I figured this out. Nothing. Like I couldn't record a video. Yo, I could not record a video. I was like, the universe was like, no, you're gonna sit here and make this music to yourself. You ain't making a video, yeah, whatever. And that's something where it's like, but it's just crazy because I just understand like that effects and what it kind of brought people to do is showing them like what they're supposed to broadcast, like what they're really supposed to like burn for. You get what I'm saying? Like what they're supposed to feel. Like what set your soul on fire was like the real thing between like the eclipses. For me personally, the solar eclipse was dummy hard. Like I don't know, the solar eclipse had me screwed up, but the lunar eclipse was like I did a photo shoot that day. Like it was a dope. I don't know how to explain it. It was just like one of those like really dope like days of release. I don't know how it was for you because yours was on the like lunar node. But like for me, it was like this like release of like all that stress that I felt from the solar eclipse, like not on me, but just energetically, like it was heavy for me. But then like
for me, it was really just this deep purge. It was it was very humbling. It is kind of hard to encapsulate it since it was on my node, but it was like it really did feel like since the new moon solar eclipse was on my south node, it did feel like all of these versions of my past self, like within this life and then previous life, it's like all of these versions were like pretty much coming forward and were like wanting to provide like the best version of that self. And it was like it's weird because the only way I can kind of describe it goes back to an anime, actually, surprisingly enough. But Angel Beats, have you heard of that one?
I have not heard Angel Beats.
Okay,
what you did say reminds me of Avatar. What you just said, like the last Airbender.
Yeah.
Like when
it kind of is like that. It was like it was almost like
all showed up.
Like when Aang goes into the room and like all the avatars are there and he's getting all this information. That's kind of how it was. It almost it did kind of feel like who I was like split between all these different personalities, and then it's like I almost like reabsorbed them, and that reabsorption was exhausting. Like I probably slept I probably have taken more naps in the past month than like the rest of the like previous of this year like combined. Like I was just tired, honestly. Honestly, my body was just tired. Like, and I was struggling too because with the South Node in Capricorn in my second house, and then the lunar eclipse was there, which lunar eclipses are about this release. I was having to release these expectations on like, I got to be productive. I got to get up at this time. I got to do this. I got to do that if I want to be successful and stuff. And I was releasing all of these self-limiting beliefs when it comes to success and productivity and the such. But, my body was tired. Like I had to like sleep more during this Cancer season. So it was like, it was not really aligning with these self-limiting beliefs, because it was like, while I could have been making a video, or I could have been writing something or working on a project, but then I find myself taking like an hour nap, and then I wake up, I'm like, okay. And then I'm not really wanting to do stuff after the nap. And then it's like, I find myself like, I didn't feel as productive, and that bugged me so much, especially nowadays where it's like, you have to do such and so to, be successful, or,
The key to success is always hustling for it.
Right.
Stuff. I have thoughts on this general thing, right? Because I'm gonna break it down, because I have Cap energy as much as I have like Sag energy, and I also have like my Mars in Virgo. So like there's a part of me that knows that structure is super necessary, and sometimes it gets really like obsessive over the idea, like where it's like I should be scheduling out every 15 minutes of my day so I know that I'm productive. Like that's my Mars and Virgo. Like let's get
Right.
that. And then my Sag is like, yeah, but we could just play my Switch for 3 hours, then
that's me.
trying to do something, maybe, like whatever. But like I think what it is that, at least for me personally, what I'm starting to like figure out is that we need structure, but we also need like leeway to get it done. So like, there's like a 2-hour time frame. It's like, oh, I'm gonna spend this 2 hours, and within this 2 hours, I'm gonna get this like 20-minute video done. Like, you get what I'm saying? It's something where it's like it's something that the way I can figure it, I guess, where it's like, okay, like I'm gonna have this set time, but within this time I have to do this. But I can, still do X, Y, and Z in between. I could be on my phone for a little bit. I think it's just like understanding that you still need to get things like accomplished, and also being able to reel in and be like, this is also my life. Like, me tripping over me not releasing this video at this specific time isn't going to like change the course of the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, it could on a good day, but you get what I'm saying. It's not like
I get what you're saying. It's kind of funny though too, because like for me, with the Jupiter and Virgo, it's like I kind of get that same thing where it's like I want to make sure I'll say like, okay, today I want to make sure I at least get a video done. When exactly I get it done isn't necessarily that big of a deal. But for me, it's like I'm like almost a little bit kind of the opposite when it comes to like, the timing of things, because I'm like almost sort of obsessed with finding like the perfect like astrological time to do something. Like when I'm publishing I'm going to publish my next poetry book. I was looking for dates that I could publish it on, and I'm just going through Planet Watcher. I'm like, all right, what's a good date to do this?
No. Look, I'm not saying that we shouldn't do this at all. Do not get me wrong. I do this myself, but it's like, so I'm like, oh, it's about to release, right? Like, let me look to where like it's supposed to be 100%. Like I dropped my the album that I had, the instrumental one, on the eclipse.
Nice.
I totally did that on purpose. I was like, I wanted to drop.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's another cool thing about astrology is that it does, timing is important. I believe it does. And I think ultimately, if your heart is in the right place, then it doesn't really matter when you do something. But if you're like aware of the transits, and you work with the transits and you time them up with certain things, it makes your manifestations that much more powerful.
It's
you
so,
know.
and it's kind of as easy as like, I don't know why this example came to mind. This is a very Sagittarian, strange example, but you know, it's like if there's certain days, it's Tuesday, right? Tuesday is like jokingly known as like Taco Tuesday. Like on Tuesday, you should probably make some tacos, but on the other days, you can do whatever else you kind of want to. But like, I think it's just like giving enough time to, I guess, maneuver it. I don't know where I was going with that,
No,
but
I get it though, because it's like, when it comes to like the productivity and all that sort of stuff, I
Mhm,
think first of all, I think everyone works differently.
mhm.
So there's no one size fits all. So it's like
Uh,
I remember like last year I was listening to a podcast and this dude had a writer on, and the writer was pretty much saying that he doesn't write every day. But what he'll do is that like maybe one day out of the week or one day out of the month or however, I can't remember exactly what it was.
mhm.
He will go buy a hotel and he will stay at the hotel for like 3 days to a week and just like write, and that's all he does.
Yeah,
And it's like sometimes it's good to just like if you have 7 days out of the week and maybe you work 5 or 4, however many it is,
mhm.
and trying to figure out what project to work on within your free time. You don't have to necessarily do it every day after you get home or whatever. You can
Yeah,
really go to town on it. Like say just set aside, all right, Tuesday from 2 to 4, I'm
mhm.
gonna go get some tacos and I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna write this thing. I'm gonna work on this music, and that's gonna be my time. Maybe you do that a couple times a week, but it's like giving yourself that time, creating that sacred space for the practice is very, very important.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's I think that's a really good thing. It's like I think it's kind of almost like a life hack too, where it's like, you don't have to.
Yeah,
I mean, some of these people, and it works for them. They get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and they hit the gym, and then they do this and they do that and stuff. And those people are like superhuman. I don't know how they do that. I'm sure anyone
yo,
could tap into that. I'm thinking of
I,
The Rock because I know he wakes up at
for
like four
sure.
o'clock.
The Rocks are Taurus though. Taurus are
Huh?
like that. Like Taurus just know how to grind. Like The Rock
Yeah,
is
they do.
Rock
Taurus is
is
one of the
the
most slept on signs.
he's the best. Yo, let's talk about Taurus. I rock with Taurus. Yo, but like he is essentially he's a great representation of the divine masculine as a Taurus. Like
Agreed.
like
Very much so.
representation of it. Like he really is. Like watching the stuff that he does, I'm like, yo, that's really like the divine masculine that's just speaking through him with a lot of things, which is dope. It's dope
It
to see
is.
that someone at such a high level be able to still
It's
like
so inspiring. I feel like
for
he's
sure.
probably one of the most productive people out there. And it's funny because like Taurus are magic manifestors. Like they're just natural at it. And it's even
Yeah,
funnier too because like, I guess one of the stereotypes that Taurus gets is that they love to sleep. And it's like I wonder, like, does this guy ever sleep? Or if he
yeah,
sleeps, it must be like a super, super power nap or something because
yeah.
that dude does so much. But
Taurus
you're
rules
right.
the earth, yo. Like
What's up?
I think people forget Taurus rules the earth, like literally this planet. Like
Yes.
everyone
That's the
forgets
thing,
that.
though, because
I'm
everyone's
like,
like Venus rules Taurus, and I guess canonically, and
mhm,
it's it's one of the archetypes. But Venus does rule the Earth, so
yep.
it's like everyone has an Earth sign as well. I think that's
Yeah,
one
their
thing that
sign is
people don't
opposite your sign, yeah.
realize. Hmm.
So it's just crazy because I'm like, yo, Taurus know how to they manifest, and I was just thinking about this earlier because Taurus rules the neck, but the neck and the throat chakra, and I forgot exactly what it was, but it pretty much represents the communication of higher consciousness. But Taurus is kind of rules the neck and rules all of that because it's like through the heart center is when you're supposed to speak out, through the throat, but the throat in between the throat, I mean the third eye and the heart is the throat chakra. So this is the
Right.
meeting between like those things in order for you to speak it out. But Taurus
That's
represents the
incredible.
neck that like allows that. Taurus has a very like shamanistic type of feel. That's why they're connected to like the herbs and all the things that are correlated with everything else that comes with it.
It's crazy too because as a Scorpio, you would think that I would attract a lot of Tauruses, and maybe before I was aware of astrology, I probably did, but when I became aware of it, I was looking around my life like I don't know any Tauruses. Like this is crazy. And then like after I moved back from Colorado, like they started popping up out of nowhere. I was like, oh snap, look at all these Tauruses. And
Yeah.
Sante, she has a Taurus moon, so that's really cool. Which is it's awesome because her Taurus moon like grounds me because I'm always off in like La La Land imaginary, but then like her Taurus moon comes in and just grounds me and like makes things practical. But it's yeah, Taurus is a very slept on sign. I really do feel that.
Sure.
So magical, so tapped into this earth. It's incredible. And once again, I don't have any Taurus energy. So it's
in my progress chart, I'm a Taurus rising.
Nice.
But outside of that, I don't have any Taurus in my chart.
I don't have anything in my progressed either. I'm a progressed Capricorn rising at 1 degree. And then yeah, I don't have anything in Taurus, and I don't think any of my progressed stuff will make it there, besides the moon when it comes around. But
true.
Which is nice. I think I'm gonna get that in a few years because right now my progressed moon is in Aries. So I just actually went through my progressed lunar return. So
that's what's up. My progressed moon is in Libra, and it makes me so upset. But the reason why
I feel like Libra gets the most shade in the zodiac.
My North Node is Libra. I have to like it's my South Node is Aries and my Ascendant is Aries. I'm so okay with just like being to myself.
Right. No, for sure.
Like,
does that make you? You're Pluto and Sag, right? Or are you at the?
I'm Pluto Sag.
You are Pluto Sag, right?
Yeah, 96.
96, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's right. That's the year my sister was born.
Yeah, I'm 3 degrees Pluto Sag. 3 degrees.
Hold on, I had to plug in my computer because I was about to lose battery. But yeah, my sister, she's Pluto Sag. It's like right there at the beginning of it.
Yeah, it's like it's just an interesting it's an interesting life. I don't know how to explain it. It's just I think it's for everybody.
Let's talk about Pluto and Sag real quick because
yeah, let's get into it.
I'm Pluto Scorpio, so it's like I feel like Pluto Scorpio, we're the generation who has 1 foot in the old world and 1 foot in the new world, and it's like we're taking. What's up?
How close? I'm sorry. How close is that to your sun? Is it a conjunction? Like how close is
It's close. So here's the funny thing. It's like it's on my 12th house. So I have Pluto at 20 degrees.
Gotcha.
I have Mars at 21 degrees, and then I have my sun at 24. So they're like right.
Back yeah, you're basically conjunct. So you're pretty much a Pluto Mars conjunct sun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'm a Pluto. I mean, not directly, but I'm a Sun Pluto Sag, Moon Pluto Sag.
Yeah, some Pluto connects are fun.
Yo, but it's funny because it's like you have the Pluto. This is a Pluto Scorpio talking on your end, Pluto Sag on my end. You know what I'm saying? It's like so we're like generation speaker right now.
It is cool though, yeah. But yeah, I feel like with Pluto and Scorpio, I feel like our generation literally was like we have 1 foot in the old world and 1 foot in the new world, and we're like taking aspects of the old world that we want to take with us and transform. And then we're like almost like sort of testing like the new stuff as well. So it's like I remember like growing up, like I didn't get my first phone until I was like in middle school. And it was like a simple little flip phone. But I actually remember like time before like a lot of this stuff happened, like in my like early childhood and stuff. And then which I'm guessing like 96 Pluto Sag, you get this too though, because you're a 90s baby. So you get that. But Pluto and Sag, like you guys are on a whole nother level of like this experience. Like you guys
we're weird, bro. Yo. Nah, I don't think people understand. Like we are weird. Yo, because here's the thing, what I realized, right? Because like you just said with the Pluto Scorpio, like I didn't get a phone until I was like in middle school. Like I think it's like I felt because I'm early Pluto Sag, I felt like the very end aspects, I was still kind of taught on like the Pluto Scorpio paradigm of things, if that makes sense. Like I was still there, like with everything, but I think the difference is like I might have had technology in my hand at an earlier age. So like I had a computer in my hand at like 3 years old, and I knew how to like actually get around. Like,
right. Yeah, that's crazy too.
Yeah, so like I learned that like so I had a computer in my hand mad young. So but I understand that I guess y'all had this like more of a y'all were able to be outside, y'all were able to actually like be kids, I think, more. Because by the time Pluto and Sag happened, it was like so many bad things had happened within the Pluto Scorpio generation to certain young people that when technology was out and everything like that, it was more like, oh, you guys stay inside and play this game. Or oh, you go ahead on the computer. But being on the computer, you're literally on the internet. I was a
Right.
little kid on the internet. And I was able to see a whole bunch of crap before I probably should have ever seen it just because like
Yeah, that's the thing about it too.
access.
So yeah, I mean, I was a little bit older and stuff like that, but not that much. I feel like '90s. It's like I consider a '90s baby like pretty much like I would say about 80, 88 and 89. Like if you had like your childhood in the '90s to about, I
Yeah.
usually cut it off at like, 95, 96, but I'll include 96. But
For
this is
sure.
your early Pluto Sag. I would say like once it got to like 99 and 2000, that's like a kind of
They're
like
weird.
that's like a whole other breed of Pluto Sag.
Yo,
But it's
I'm telling
Pluto
you.
and Sag is interesting because it's like Sagittarius energy is this visionary quality, but then you add Pluto to it. So it's like it's funny because Pluto and Scorpio can see through bullshit and we'll try and want to almost figure everything out and investigate it and even heal it to a certain degree. Pluto and Sag pretty much gives no fucks. Like it's not that Pluto and Sag doesn't want to heal things or try and investigate, but Pluto and Sag is like it's like if you Pluto Sag disagrees with something in like the system, they're just sort of like fuck it. Whereas Pluto and Scorpio will almost try to investigate why it is that way. Pluto and Sag just be like, oh no, I'm out.
Ah, I think it's because we've seen. You want to know what it is? I'm from a personal note too. We've seen how things don't work. Like we've seen when people stress about certain things, how they never actually like work in real time. Like so, we see it beforehand, and a lot of times, a lot of people think that Pluto and Sag people don't pay attention. Like we pay attention, but like you said, we don't care. Like because
Right.
there's a certain point where it's like y'all been doing these same things for the past 70 years. How far have you gotten? Like how much progress have you made? Right. And like, we see it and we're just like, screw that. Like with certain things, like it's just like for what? Like what? How does this help anyone? Like you get what I'm saying coming from that
No,
aspect. Like
like
how does
it makes sense though.
yeah.
Yeah, Scorpio,
Like
like I
y'all
said,
can be
Scorpio
yeah.
almost wants to try and fix the old stuff, like the
Mm-hmm.
old generation, the old paradigm. Scorpio kind of wants to fix it and transmute it, or Sag is sort of like, it doesn't work, why fix it? It's like there's no,
Yeah, we're
it was
very
like
like we're
why
very
fix it?
existentialist or very like nihilist type mindset. That's
Yeah,
why our humor is so crude. Like we have the
but
like
that's the thing though. It doesn't mean that Sag doesn't care. I
it's
mean, that's not
okay.
true at all because that's the interesting thing. Because
Yeah.
like with the Sag rising, so I kind of personify this. Sag rising has Cancer as their eighth house, so they do
Sure.
care. I think it's really that Sag is they can be the life of the party or like the party starters. But then as far as like who they let get really close to them, they're very picky about who they let get close to them.
That
You
right there,
know?
my friend, is 100% what it is. It's like
Yeah.
I
It's
I
like
let
Sag can. Oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
Oh no, but here's I think the best way to put it, now to say it is like, for example, with me, I'm like there's people that I consider like I'm cool with, whatever, cordial, third house, 11th house, whatever. But then there's people that are like my fam. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
they're just that's fam. Like that's my brother. Like that's my brother. Like that person's my sister. Like legitimately, like y'all are cool with me. And it's that eighth house type feel where it's like I'll tell them whatever because they're that close. You get what I'm saying? But
No, absolutely.
you have to be that close though in order for it to happen. A lot of people on the outskirts are like, why is you opening up? Why are you doing this? And it's like, I mean, I told you things, but I'm not gonna like break into everything that's like private and personal to me unless you give me
Right.
that vibe, unless we have the eighth house shared like connection where it's like, oh, we going deep. Like, are we really getting into like what's going on, like each other's
Mm-hmm.
lives, like what's going down? If so, cool. And once that happens, like Sag will find a home with that person anytime. Like we'll like I know there's people in my life where it's like I haven't spoken to them in 4 years, but we've had that type of connection that if I was like, hey yo, blah blah blah, like it's cool. You get what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. I
Yeah.
definitely get that with the Sag rising, Cancer 8th house. It's like I can pretty much get along with anybody, even people who have views like that are like totally opposite of mine. Like even if they have like political views that are totally opposite of mine or whatever, I generally can get along with anybody. But as far as who I let into that personal like inner circle, I'm very, very selective about that, because then it's like, it has that Scorpio like influence. So it's like, whoever I let in, and it's interesting because those are the people that usually do hurt you the most, but then it's like you really care about those individuals. And you're willing to put in the work, the emotional work, to keep those people around in your life because they mean so much to you and they really get you on like a core soul level. But yeah, Sagittarius is interesting. It's like they can be, like I said, the life of the party. They can get along with a lot of different people, but as far as who they let get close to them, that's that's another story. And you can attest to that because I mean you have Scorpio as your 8th house, so
yeah. Scorpio is my 8th house, and I have Venus in Scorpio. So in a sense, it's like the underdeveloped, I guess, quote unquote, however you put it. I don't really like to get into like the details and what's what, but whatever. At the younger time, before I understood what it was very like, it's like a negative type feel a lot of the time. It's because pure Scorpio energy is a pure type energy. So when I would like give people like information or share myself, like that was hella personal to me. So if anyone were to like take it or spill it to somebody else, or if anyone were to like, go say something rude towards it when it was something personal, like I'd just get like, grr. You know what I'm saying? I'd just be like upset. Now as I'm older and I've obviously haven't lived through more experience, it's like I can understand that like that type of privacy and connection is only subscribed to those people that subscribe with it. You get what I'm saying? Like I can't just do that to someone that I may like favor or someone that I may like just be cool with just because. Like, it has to be somebody where it's like we've made that connection and now we could speak back and forth or whatever else. Like that's how that generally goes.
No, I definitely get that. It's really important to. It's like I think it's a form of protection though, because it's like sometimes like you can look at some people and I might not necessarily know their energy, but you've seen people where they almost let everyone in on their inner circle and then they find themselves getting hurt a lot. And it's almost like, it's kind of like building up, like putting up those walls of protection. And it's the only downside to it is that sometimes you keep people out that are actually supposed to be in. And then the universe and God, your guides have a way of jamming them into your life.
Oh my goodness, yo, I'm telling you. I'm glad that you get it as a sad, but like I'm telling you, like I'll be like, nah, whatever, that, and then they just pop up or something happens and they're just like, you're not done yet. And I'm like, damn. But it just really goes to show where it's like everything is aligned for whatever reason it's aligned. Like there's nothing that kind of comes by like happenstance. Everything is generally coordinated to one another. Sometimes you have duties to still fulfill with people. Sometimes there's unfinished business with people that like arrive in a certain type of way, or you know what I'm saying?
No, for sure. Someone in the comments, I think it was Nikki, was asking
in some type of way.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just saying, someone in the just a quick aside. Nikki said, "What's Pluto in Libra?"
Oh, look at the chat.
Yeah, they asked, "What's Pluto in Libra's generation?" I want to say it was hold on, I had it pulled up here real fast. Let me. Let's see now. I'm like off track.
Was the early 80s?
Yeah, it was about
sure early 80s.
72, 73 to like the mid 80s or so, and Uranus was there as well. So, that's some of our parents. My parents were born in 62 and 66, so they were relatively young when that happened. But sure. Yeah, I'm sure we'll probably have some Pluto and Libra people here as well. But that's interesting too, though, because Pluto and Libra, that's beginning the whole second half of the zodiac. So we've got Pluto Libra, we got Pluto Scorpio, we got Sag, now we got Cap. I'm afraid of these kids. I am afraid of the Pluto and Cap.
I understand. Nah, I get it. I definitely understand. They're super powerful. Like they're about it. They're about it. Cause I'll go up to them and I'll just test them. Like I'm the old dude at this point. But I'll go in and I'll test them, and they'll really like come back at me with something. And I'm like, I respect it. Like I can't. I'm
right.
I respect it. I respect it. Like, do you, bro? Like.
These Pluto and Cap kids when they get to age, when they hit their teenage years, oh my goodness. Yo. We are going to, Pluto and Cap, they're going to they're here to transform the structure of society.
Yes,
so
which is why they're born now.
They're going to transform in many ways this whole physical matrix and how we structure things. And then Pluto and Aqua, oh dear, they're going to destroy the matrix itself. So it's like in these mental paradigms.
Yo, oh my god. Yo, you said that, I'm like, yo, they're gonna destroy it. Because I was watching The Matrix not too long ago, and I'm like, the whole Matrix, the movie itself, I'm like, it's literally just like Neo. Neo represents like Uranus. And like everything else is just Saturn. And so the whole movie is just him trying to upgrade and outdo the system in order for everyone to be free. Like, but that Uranus, when you said Saturn and Aquarius, I'm like, and Saturn and Pisces. But that's a whole other story. Like, oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, the Saturn return in Pisces. I mean, I have my Saturn in Aquarius at 1 degree. So I'm going to get my return next year. My partner, she's Saturn in Pisces at 2 degrees. So that's going to, I feel like this Saturn and Aqua and Pisces is going to be really interesting. But I really loved how you said that Neo is Uranus, because that's definitely very true. So we're like already, I think what people are experiencing right now is that the matrix is already beginning to break down, because we have Uranus and Taurus, and it's going to be here for like, what, 6 to 7, 8 years or so. So the matrix is already breaking down. And
it is. The fact that we're having this conversation online, YouTube, whatever, like just the fact that this conversation is possible is like a breakdown of it. You get what I'm saying? Like, and we're not even going crazy, but just the fact that we can is like already like a, you get what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. And it's like, weird, and guys, like, you got to understand that Uranus just went into Taurus. Like, it hasn't been there for too long at all. So it's, by the end of this transit, we're going to have technology that's just like blows this stuff out of the water. And it's like, and this technology is great, because if you went back just 30 years and you told someone that you could do this on like a platform where you can talk to someone on the other side of the country or wherever, they'll be like, okay, yeah, right. But it's like, this is magical stuff. Like, this is actually magic, like, being manifested.
It's because I always think to myself, right? Anything in I find it funny when people talk about like magic or whatever, and it's just like, oh, it's bad. I'm like, yo, you have a cell phone in your pocket. If you take that for some reason, right? You take all those things and you go back in time. If you have a cell phone, then they're coming for, like, they're gonna be like, this is the most magic, witchcraft, whatever, blah blah blah, and they're gonna go off at the fact that there's a cell phone. Some people are like, oh, it's magic. I'm like, technology is. Like, it's
technology is magic. You got to understand this, guys. Technology is Aquarius energy, right? And Aquarius is the 12th house to Pisces.
Yeah.
Pisces is magic. Aquarius, like, technology is magic.
Yeah, like,
it really is magic. So it's fun. Honestly, it's an incredible, beautiful time to be alive. But with all of this energy and stuff too, and just the breakdown of this matrix and stuff, it's a lot to process. But I don't think, actually, no, I know we would not have incarnated at this time if we couldn't handle it. No. But I think that's part of the reason why we have these connections, is because, especially with the internet, it's funny because I feel strangely closer to a lot of people I've met through the internet than people like in my real life.
Absolutely.
it's like there'll be times where like I'm not feeling the greatest, or I'm feeling down, or maybe even a little anxious, and then I'll pop online and I'll watch someone's video, and I just feel at home. Or if I see like the Peace Dealer is live, or the Leo King is live, or whoever, and I pop in and I'm in the comments and stuff, I feel like I'm at home, and like my worry and my anxiety goes away.
And that's crazy because that's the 11th house community. Like that's the 11th house. Everything's connected. That's the World Wide Web is like, you get what I'm saying? It's just that in and of itself is just like Uranus Aquarius type energy, and that's the like magic behind it. The magic's everyone's connected, and you get to actually experience everyone being connected through technology.
It's so cool. It's something that I really do feel like everyone should experience. And it's, you know, and I guess the danger of it is that you can get lost in the technology. And that's why it's really important to still go outside and connect, and, you know, because that's the real technology, you know, the trees, and how it connects with everything, and how, you know, literally everything in nature is connected. That's the true internet. I honestly feel like the internet has evolved as a way for us to learn that interconnectedness, so we don't need the technology itself anymore, but then we'll just be able to do it psychically and stuff like that. Like, I feel like that's where we're heading to. Like, maybe even in 100 years, computers and the internet won't be a thing, but we'll be so evolved and advanced that we'll be able to just psychically communicate with people.
100%. Because I'm like, yo, humans are meant to evolve. All creatures are technically, but humans are meant to evolve. And DNA changes at like such a rapid rate. You know, DNA can change within like a very short amount of time. So just imagine like over time where more people start to embrace their gifts, their natural gifts, because they're natural gifts and they're all born with it. We just get told otherwise, or we get told stop being in your imagination. You know, there's kid, I'm certain there's some kid that's like, I'm a unicorn. It might have potential in a unit, but it's like, I'm a unicorn, and their parents are like, don't be ridiculous, you're a kid. And their whole life they're gonna grow up mad weird, like, I knew it was a unicorn. And they're gonna have some weird synchronicity when they're like 26, probably younger by then because of the ages, because I know I've experienced certain things earlier. So when they're like 13, something's gonna happen. They're gonna be like, I am a unicorn, whatever. But you know what I'm saying? It's a super
for all we know, they have a moon in the 12th or a moon in Pisces, and their soul really resonates with that sort of thing. It's like, like some people, like, they come in and they really feel like, no, I actually am this, you know? Like, that's, for me, example, I haven't really been super open about this, whatever like that. Not that I'm embarrassed about it, but I grew up, and from like a young age, I knew I was a dragon. Like, I knew I was like this being that can transform into a dragon. And it was like, I would even act it out and stuff like that. Me doing it, and, you know, battling. I'm not like dragons, like battling knights, stuff like that, like you'll see, and that sort of stuff. But it took on a different like different in my imagination and stuff. And then I noticed there was a period of time where I almost started to back off from it. And I was like, you know, maybe I need to get a little bit more real. Maybe I'm not that. And then I was like, lately it kind of came back. I was like, no, you actually kind of are this. You actually are these that you say you are.
You, bro, like that's, and if that, I don't know if that came up for you like the eclipse season or not. I don't know if that came up for the eclipse, but like that time frame, I know I got keyed into certain things, and I was like, oh. Like, for real, like, it connects. It's like things that I thought of when I was like 7 are starting to connect. Like,
yeah, that's the thing about it too. I think that's what's awesome about this North Node in Cancer too, and these eclipses, is that, you know, Cancer very much so, you know, it rules the mother, of course, like that goddess energy, but it also deals a lot with your childhood and your upbringing. And your emotional upbringing. So it's like, yeah, this solar eclipse definitely was rekindling a lot of these aspects and these feelings, and just really these knowings that we had from when we were children. And it's like, there's a reason why children act out what they're doing. It's because they actually are tapping into that vibration. It's like, like they actually are tapping into it. Like if a kid was outside and they're pretending that they were, I don't know, whatever, like a werewolf or a dragon, or pretending that they're a firefighter, they actually are tapping into that vibration. They are the closest match to that vibration. They really are. And it's something that we really need to kind of come back to. I think that's what the North Node in Cancer is really teaching us, is how to come back to that, you know, not being childish, but being childlike, you know.
I want to connect that. Yeah, no, I want to connect that because I was thinking to myself just today, I was like, it was really starting to harness in. I'm like, I don't think the fourth house is necessarily family directly. Like, I think what the fourth house really actually represents is like privacy. Like, it's the privacy, it's the inner, like, it's the inner feeling of home. Like, home is within people, and the fourth house represents what that home means to them. But I feel like the fourth house represents like privacy. So, for example, you're like, that's not something that you regularly would say. You get what I'm saying? It's like, it's not, it's like, it was just a private thought. You get what I'm saying? I think that like this Cancer season and stuff like that was bringing out all of these type of things. And like you said, it's childish, childlike, whatever, but it's because it's from the Cancer privacy leading into this Leo where it's like you are supposed to live. That's going to go into like the heart center. And you're supposed to live that. You get what I'm saying? Like that's what I feel like is going down, or at least when it comes to like that transition from the Cancer season into Leo. It's like you get where I'm coming from?
No, absolutely. I definitely get that because, you know, Cancer, with it being that that cardinal water energy, or just water energy in general, it is very much so more on the psychic level, a little bit more on the intuitive level. It has sort of like that high priestess kind of energy, whereas like, you know, Gemini, it rules like your neighborhood, and it can actually be like, you know, your mom, your dad, like your, like the physical people in your life, your siblings and stuff. And then Cancer is like that feeling, that emotion, that you know, how the family makes you feel, that quality. So it's like, no, I definitely get what you're saying. It is a little bit more on the private end because it's like, especially in this day and age where, you know, we're taught, we have been conditioned away from expressing our emotions for such a long time that now we're starting to see it erupt. And because it's been suppressed for such a long time, you see so many different modes and modalities on how to express your emotions and how to work with them, whether that's through meditation or shadow work,
everything
yoga.
Like everything.
Yeah, it's like there's this whole self-care movement that's coming out. And it's like, I think we're realizing that there's not one particular mode that works for everybody. But since it was suppressed for such a long time, it's literally like Pandora's box, just like erupting out. And now it's like we're being sort of like inundated with all of these suppressed emotions. And it's kind of funny because like we were talking before we went live about this transition to Leo season, and I love how you said it because it's like it feels murky because we have Mars there, we have the Sun there, Venus will be there soon, but we still have the North Node in Cancer, and we have this Mercury retrograde in Cancer as well. So it's like with Mercury and Leo, we were really focused on communicating from the heart, from our passions, from our joy. But then when they're retrograde, we're like, okay, do I really like this? Am I really passionate about this? Do I really find this joy in this? Then it goes back into Cancer, conjuncts the Sun right at the tail end, and it's like, oh, how do you feel about this? It's like we kind of left Cancer season, but we're still kind of in it. It's like, oh, I still gotta think about how I feel about this.
It's I think the best way to put it, right, is like Mercury went into Leo, and everyone's like, yeah, I know who I am. I'm saying it with my chest, and then like, however it got received, people are like, is that really what it is? And because it's Mercury retrograde, you go back into Cancer, and you get like all like sad, like, did I say the right thing there? Did I do the right thing here? Like, whatever. Like, I'm not mad about it. It's cool. And then once it goes back into, and then now it's just like the Mufasa, remember who you are. And then it's going back in. And it's like,
see how Disney knew what they were doing. How are you going to drop?
I called it.
How are you going to drop the Leo? How are you going to drop the Lion King? When Mercury just left Leo, went back into Cancer, the Sun's coming into Leo, Mars is there. Like, how are you going to release this movie around that time? Like, this, either they knew what they were doing, or know the universe knows what it's doing. So like,
it knows what it's doing. Yeah, they always knew what it was doing. Like, you get what I'm saying? But it's like, just like that. Also, funny thing, I looked at Donald Glover's chart not too long ago, and when I was really looking at it, because I was like, oh, he's playing Simba, right? And there's some thing that I found beforehand where it was like Keanu Reeves was meant to play Neo, and it's because he had like this 12th house Mercury, 12th house Uranus, 12th house whatever, and it goes in Virgo. And that was to show like breaking through the details of the Matrix literally is like in his chart. So him portraying that as 12th house to the, you know what I'm saying? That was his role. Donald Glover had the same thing, but it was in Leo. So his like Leo was in that 12th house and all of that. And I was like, and he's playing Simba. Like that.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It
he has a Leo
when I saw it. I was like, oh wow, like he really was like meant to play Simba. That's
dope.
It was.
That's so dope.
This is my nerd.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it yet. I do want to go check it out. Of course, I'm always gonna feel like the original was like the best one, stuff like that.
Oh, I'm not in a rush to see it because of that. I'm like, it's not the same. I'm gonna watch it, obviously, whenever I find a chance. But
yeah, I'm never gonna watch it. I definitely. It's funny too because that came out, which is definitely this very Leo, Cancer kind of energy, and then we had the new Men in Black movie that came out, which is very much so Aquarian energy and Capricorn. So it almost kind of represents the nodes, like over the past several years, how they were in Leo and Aquarius respectively, and now they're in Capricorn and Cancer respectively. Wow! And then we get a new Men in Black movie after like how long? How long has it been since the last Men in Black?
Way too long. Like
way too long. Exactly.
Like, but it was really good though. I don't know if you've seen it, but it was good.
I haven't seen it yet. I want to check. I want to check it out.
It was good.
My only gripe with the movies is that I want something original. Like I think it's cool how they're remaking the Lion King, they're remaking Mulan, and they're remaking these movies like The Little Mermaid. I think it's cool, but I want some fresh content.
And I think
maybe I'm the one to do that, but I want some.
And I think you're gonna feel me when I say this. The reason why like people get drawn over to like anime and Japanese culture, like when it comes to it, is because there's always a different story every time. For the most part, there's a certain trope like in like shonens and stuff where it's like there's pretty much going to be some character with some type of like demon infused influence or something. But outside of that, there's always a different plot. There's always a different story. There's always a different world to go into. And like in the Western culture, like our stuff gets stale. Like we pretty much gets stale. People remake it.
What's up?
Then we try to remake it. But then it's like we could have just done something new.
Exactly.
Cooler, but we don't.
I feel like Japan, when it comes to like the energy and stuff like that, these animes, I feel like they really are kind of on like the cutting edge of like a lot of these, I guess these new energies are coming in and stuff as far as when it comes to like media and stuff like that. Because I mean, I've been into anime since I was a kid, of course. I was into DBZ like everyone, and I liked Inuyasha and Outlaw Star and Zoid, some of the older ones, stuff like that.
I was a kid.
I watched Naruto and everything. But I've watched a lot of different kinds of animes, like obscure animes that people probably have never heard of. So it's like, but it is like there are different tropes and stuff like that, you know, and different themes. But there is always fresh content. There's always new anime seasons, as they would say, that will come out, and you'll get like a whole bunch of new animes. And it's just, I think, you're right. People are starting to be more attracted to that because we want some new, fresh content. Like
it's the range.
We really do.
Like that's it. Like we just want a range of different things to like be able to look
at.
Instead of like if they come out with like a movie where it's like a Harry Potter spinoff, it's like I understand it's an established world, but it's like you could have done something else.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of the spin-off movies, and I've read.
I don't know if there was any, but I'm just saying, like in general, that's just
No, I definitely get that. It's actually funny because I feel like this is actually somewhat of a good segue into the coming South node that's going to be going into Sagittarius and the North node in Gemini, because I do feel like this nodal axis is going to bring a bit of that freshness that we're looking for, but we're also going to see just how, and I don't want people to get like triggered by this, but religious people are about things, and not even religious from like an actual religious standpoint, but how you know how people can be religious over food, or religious over a TV show, or religious over whatever. The South Node in Sagittarius is really going to show, like, it's almost going to be like this sort of thing where people simultaneously want new content, but then simultaneously don't, because they're gonna be like, how can you go with that when this has been here and this is established and like this has been what we've always done? So it's gonna be kind of weird with the South Node and Sag. I think a lot of things are going to be revealed about people's value and their belief system, and like kind of what they hold to be sacred. But then simultaneously with the North Node and Gemini, literally we're gonna be, I already think that humanity is a meme of itself, but Gemini energy just gives me this vibe of like a joker, a comedian. We're literally just gonna be making fun of ourselves for like 1.5 years with that accent.
For sure. Yo,
and it's gonna be hilarious. Can't wait.
It's when you say like the South Node and Sag and the North Node, I think it's the difference between what people have always found sanctuary in, and also like how kind of ridiculous that could be. It's hard to explain because I'm a Sag, and just having the Sag Gemini axis. So conversations I've had with like Geminis, it's like whenever a Sag has a conversation with a Gemini, we have to take ourselves less serious. Like, it's hard to explain. Like, it's like this automatic, we get in this like playful banter talking back and forth, and we can kind of discuss just about anything because it's just for that. We can have opposing views, but it's never like a beef. Like, I feel like Sag and Geminis don't have beef. Like, we're not.
I don't feel like they have beef either. I feel like
we
they play off of each other.
We hate love each other at certain time frames, but it's never like a beef. You get what I'm saying? But I think with the going back and forth with it is like people are going to start speaking on how they always have felt about these like sanctuaries, or how they've always felt about like religions, or how they've always felt about things of that nature. And people are going to be pissed, or they're going to take the lesson, or they're going to take the lesson and be like, this is all a joke. This is.
Oh, it's such a huge cosmic joke. That's the funny thing about it, is that you're going to, if you think people are triggered now, guys, people are going to get so triggered.
People aren't even mad yet.
It's going to be hilarious. I'm going to be eating it up because like it's just like, because like what, but here's the thing, like there's going to be a lot of like, I thought there's going to be almost like a lot of new philosophies that come forth too.
True. And a lot of new like random religions are going to probably pop up. Like,
oh yeah, a lot of new random religions are going to pop up as well. It's just going to be really interesting, and people are really going to start to communicate how they've always, like you said, always felt about what their sanctuaries. I love that word too, sanctuary. But it's like people are really going to feel like their sanctuary is being threatened. And I guess the cosmic joke is like, your sanctuary is not really being threatened. You're just, you know, you're trying to maybe push your sanctuary on other people that it may not vibe with them. And you guys can actually coexist, believe it or not, within your sanctuary. You know, you can still actually coexist. You know, like, you know, there's a bridge in between where you can actually meet the other person.
And that's the Gemini camaraderie. The Gemini camaraderie that's why it's the North Node's there.
Exactly.
Like we're trying to find this camaraderie where we can just speak as common folk in comparison to just like beefing with each other. Right now it's just straight beef, because these are, so for example, it's the Cancer North Node, and then the South Node's in Capricorn. So even if you could see, companies and corporations are literally using what people find like private to them or like their personal stuff, and they're exploiting it. For example, I'm just going to bring it up because it's like, if like Pride Month just passed by, right? Corporations don't care about pride. I went to school for marketing. I went to school for business. I understand how like certain corporation entities are supposed to operate. Like, I get it. I understand that they're supposed to fall into trends and be able to work with that. But in the end game, I'm like, they don't care about this specifically. But they're using, you know, South Node Cap. There are already like built enterprise and corporation, and then using what's North Node, what people are like private with, what they're really, it's close to home for them. And then being like, here's a rainbow shirt. Surprise, like.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy too, especially when you can
Yeah.
kind of see through the bullshit and stuff. And
Mhm.
it's like, it's not that I don't care about these groups of people, whatever like that, but especially when it comes to these corporations and these companies, which their goal is to continually expand, and they
Mhm.
don't want to take losses, which naturally doesn't make sense because everything expands and contracts. So it's like you can only expand
That
so
do
far
that
before it
get
collapses
rich.
on itself.
Businesses
You
that do that
know?
get rich though. If you really notice, the hugest businesses are the ones where they lose out and they're like, oh no, this is never going to work. Don't buy into that. Don't buy into that. And then boom, everyone's using Apple. Like
Exactly.
it's crazy how they.
Exactly. But it's like, yeah, these companies they're tugging on people's heartstrings and their emotions.
Yeah.
So they're capitalizing on, as you said, like these more private matters. Whereas
Mhm.
like when things shift into Sag and Gemini, it's going to be funny because it's going to be interesting because Jupiter and the South Node are going to switch positions. Jupiter's going to go into Capricorn, and then
Mhm.
the South Node is going to go into Sag, which is actually going to be kind of cool because this is actually going to allow a lot of people to really make something of themselves if they really do believe in themselves and they're able to overcome the challenges of the South Node and Sag. There's going to be a lot of self-made like millionaires and billionaires in like the
True.
next few years.
True.
And it's really going to come down to whether people, can recognize that their sanctuary isn't being threatened by any one corporation or any one person. Um, but with that North Node in Gemini, it's going to be like, really finding the right community of people, finding the right tribe of people. Right now, we're still kind of feeling things out with
Mhm.
this Cancer energy. But then once it goes into Gemini, it's going to be like, really like, all right, what people, am I going to communicate with in my life? And, who am I going to really kind of keep close to me, and who else am I going to kind of just be cordial with? Who am I going to, let into the inner circle? Who am I just going to be like, I can maybe sit down and have a cup of tea with them, but we don't have to get too deep into things,
Yeah.
and I don't have to allow myself to feel threatened if they say something that I don't necessarily agree with. You know what I'm saying?
It's like the establishment of characters right now, and then getting to like speak to others. Like you'll start meeting everyone at their level, but not like you're going down to their level, but everyone's going to just kind of be able to like speak easier on these hard topics or not
Right.
to blow up in the like Sagittarius rage way, whatever. Things happen. But
That's a funny thing too, because we got to think, of course, I mean, we could talk a little bit about politics. I don't like getting too much into it, but it's like,
yeah.
you know, we are going to have the South Node and Sag, and whether people accept it or not, Trump's probably going to win again, whether you care about it or not. But if you think Trump's been savage now, wait till the South Node gets to Sag.
Yeah.
He is going to, like, people are really going to get triggered. And you got to understand that Trump doesn't care about a lot of the things that he's saying.
Nah.
Like, for him, this is really probably just a business move for him after the presidency to like have like hotels all across the world and stuff like that. I don't know what his
Nah,
end
I
goal is,
get it. I
whatever.
get it.
But like this is like all business for him. So he knows what he's doing. He's really like he's pushing buttons, and people are allowing themselves to get detonated.
He's
You
a
know?
he's a stereotypical anime villain, and I think anyone understands
Oh yeah.
that. And see, but like I can say that, and you get it, and you see it, but like other people are just like, oh,
No,
like
you're right because like the anime villains, they always like monologue and they talk about why they're doing something and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, you know, a lot of them usually they have some sort of reason why, maybe like a tragic background, whatever like that.
sometimes, yeah.
Most villains actually, it's funny too because like most villains actually have a lot more self-love than like heroes and stuff like that. It's
Actually,
and
yeah,
like
I can agree.
yeah, they love themselves a lot because I mean, you gotta love yourself a lot to do some of these things, and you usually do have some sort of tragic background. You have your crazies out there like the Joker who are just straight up maniacs and stuff. But it's funny, like you said, like these anime villains. Like Trump is kind of like that. He's really is a caricature of himself,
Yep,
uh,
that's what it
and
is.
it's like he does monologue. He does kind of like you know
Because you
he
know that
tells
he's gonna just do him. Like you know that he's just going to like you said, a
yeah
character. You just know that whatever happens is going to be a very him thing to do.
Exactly.
You know, like
Exactly. It's like, I might necessarily agree with everything that he's doing, but I can appreciate like how upfront he is with, who he is and stuff like that. It's like, what you're going to get with them. Like you do know what you're going to get. And it's like, people are like, I can't believe he said that. I can't believe he did this. I'm like, I can honestly appreciate his honesty and his authenticity. I don't necessarily agree
with him,
some
but I
of the
respect his like. You get what I'm coming from. It's like, I don't agree with. I don't get into it. Period. But the fact that as a person and as an individual in this grand world, that you're able to like have that much audacity, there's a certain amount of respect where it's like, wow, like they. When you fight against the grain that type of way, it's like, oh shoot, like, I don't agree with a lot of things, but there's a lot of people in history where it's like we don't agree with what they did, but we talk about it because it was greatness. Like, better or worse.
No, I definitely get that. It's going to be fun. This, like, we're wrapping up the decade. Like it'll be 2020 next year. We got the Pluto-Saturn conjunction. The nodes are going to shift. Jupiter's going to shift.
The Pluto-Saturn conjunction is
going to be interesting. Oh my goodness! Like I've been looking at it too, and I'm like, man, this is going to be intense. This is going to be really intense. And I almost feel like I'm already going through my Saturn return because this is all in my second house. So it's like very, very like physical for me. It's like in like physical manifestation and stuff like that.
Interesting.
And like, it's been a lot of like questioning like my value and my worth and working through issues of how I really feel about my progression and where I'm going and stuff. So
now I think about it, I feel like Saturn just being in Cap is kind of given. It's not okay. So not a Saturn return, because obviously a Saturn return happens later. But I think it's really having people like go through these certain Saturnian type of trials and such, so to speak.
No, I get what you're saying. It kind of, Saturn has returned home. So it does kind of make sense that it's sort of like a collective Saturn return.
Yeah, it's like everybody gonna get to work on what you want to get to go to work. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, thankfully, they gave the Jupiter and Sag gives you leeway to where you can kind of pick where you go towards it. But when you kind of pick that thing, it's like, nah, this is it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we'll work with you. We'll get you in the right positions. But you're supposed to do this. You know what I'm saying? For me, that's like, that's music, and then like me doing this, right? Like my music is really what I drive, and like this is like my passion, where it's like I get to really speak with people, help people. I'm a nerd for this. This is what I love to do. So it's like, you get what I'm saying? So
no, that's awesome. I like that. No, I like that because Saturn's like, it's wanting you to put in that hard work and have that integrity. And have the determination to see things through. But then you're right, that Jupiter and Sag energy does kind of give you that leeway. It kind of goes back to like the whole, the free will fate thing, where it's like, I believe that we have both. I believe that certain things are fated to happen, but I also believe in free will too. So it's like Jupiter and Sag is kind of helping out with that free will department. Right now it's retrograde. It'll come forward very soon. And it's interesting with retrogrades. I've noticed that with certain retrogrades, the retrograde energy almost feels a little bit more present than the direct energy. It's like, it's kind of interesting because a lot of the energies are turned inward. So it's like Mercury retrograde, pretty much, everyone feels that and everyone talks about Mercury retrograde and stuff. But it's like, then you get like some of these outer planets that do it. Like Saturn retrograde, honestly, I'm not gonna say it's a breeze, but it does feel a little bit lighter than when Saturn's going forward. It's almost sort of like, it's like you can relatively show up late to work and you're not going to get as much trouble. But when Saturn comes forward and you're late to work metaphorically, then you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, but it's like kind of like it eases because it knows you're gonna be there, so it's like whatever. But when it's direct, it's like, why weren't you here 5
exactly.
What do you mean you're 5 seconds late? Huh?
counting it down to the seconds, and
Yeah,
Saturn will do that too. Saturn will count down to the
that's what I'm
seconds.
saying. Saturn and Virgo, Mercury type terms, like those type of energies will be like, you missed it, 3.8 seconds.
Yeah, that's why I feel like now's a very great opportunity. If any of you out there feel like with your dreams and your passions and stuff, if you feel like you've missed the gravy train, you haven't at all.
Nope.
You can pick up and start at any time, even if Saturn goes forward and Jupiter moves, and even if you don't necessarily get to it in the next 5 years. It's like you can start right now, but right now is a great time because we are being given we're being given a lot of leeway. It's like the universe is you hear sometimes to say that the universe is impartial and stuff like that, but like our guides and this, this God energy, this love energy, it's very compassionate. It's willing to work with you. So it's like you really can't ever be late to doing something, but it's just about finding that motivation, that inspiration, and then just kind of doing it. That's kind of what I've been learning. It's like, the other day I didn't necessarily want to make a video at like 11 o'clock at night, but then I was like, I'm just go ahead and do it. And I felt great afterwards. And it's like, I'm having a lot of fun, making these videos and pursuing them and, pursuing my writing. And I want to make music eventually too, actually, because I'm a very musical person. I don't know how to play any instruments yet. But
it's a learn. Like you can learn, it's a learnable, and you're able to do it. And it's like you can pick things up at whatever age, at whatever time. That's another thing too. Is like, some things you're gonna be able to coordinate with, but some things you'll be able to like figure out better ways to do. It's a huge thing I used to have. I was like, I can't play guitar myself. I can't do blah blah blah. But like, then I started to find ways where I could still utilize it and where I could still like, you know what I'm saying? Like it'll find its own way if you start to pursue towards something.
Right. I think because sometimes people, I think they feel like they start too late. It's like you'll hear individuals be like, "Oh, I've been playing guitar since I was 6," or "Oh, I've been doing this since I was 5," or whatever. And then you're like in your 20s or 30s, 40s, 50s, and you're like, "Oh, well, I can't learn how to do it because like there's that whole perception of like if you start young, it's easier, whatever like that," which it's probably like partway true. But you can start at any time. You can start at any time.
It's honestly a mindset thing. And old dogs can learn new tricks, but most old dogs don't feel like learning them.
That's the thing. Old dogs can learn new tricks, but they don't necessarily feel like it. That's good. I like that.
You get what I'm saying? Like at that point,
I definitely know what you're saying.
Like a bit.
So I'm interested though, like about your music and stuff. Like, do you play any instruments? Do you make it with like just a computer, or like what do you?
So I do play piano. Or I used to play. I was classically trained when I was a kid. So like I have that background on top of just like me loving music, me loving hip hop, me loving R&B, always being around music. Parents always playing it all throughout the day, like, you know what I'm saying? So I always got like older frame type music, old school stuff, like old R&B classic type deal. And then when I listened on my own time, I was like, I learned all the hip hop. I went through the whole discographies of certain like artists. Like I was a nerd for it. Like I was the mixtape kid where it was like something would come out and I would pop up and be like, "Hey, did you hear this yet?" And like give them or like send them the link. You know, I was that type of person. So, but I think as of right now, when I'm making stuff, it's just generally I do it electronic. I have been able to collaborate at certain points with different people. I'm still working on a couple things right now, but or like they'll send me like a part or whatever, and I just end up combining it all. I definitely just like changing and forming different sounds out of things that like shouldn't be a thing. It's hard to explain.
It's a very Pluto and Sag quality, yeah. No. You have that visionary quality too that allows you to do that.
That's what comes through. Like it's super hard to explain. Like, but I'm glad you pointed that out because I think that's really what it is. I'm just like, if I could just take this and shift this and like form it over, it's gonna make this different sound. And if I put that sound with this sound, then it's gonna make this sound. And when this sound comes on, people are gonna be like, "Oh, that's the sound." You get what I'm saying? Like that's
Right. No, I like that because, like, me myself, if I ever made music, it probably would be somewhere in the electronic scene because I mean, I listen to all kinds of music, but electronic is probably my favorite genre. Like, I've been listening to, like, when I first got into it, I was into the whole, it's like back in the day, that kind of music.
stuff.
And then it kind of transformed into like I love trance music and progressive house, but and then there are all these other kind of forms like future bass, and one of my favorites right now is chill hop. I love it.
Dope. Chill hop is mad dope. I have some chill hop stuff somewhere.
Do you? I love chill hop. It's almost meditative for me. It's like it has that nice beat in the background. I always find myself rapping to it too because like I think I've done like one or two videos where I was just kind of doing like a rapping poetic flow on my channel. But people, I mean, I don't really talk about it too much, but I like to rap a lot in my spare time, and I beatbox a lot. So it's like if I hear like that's the great thing about electronic music is that it allows me to do it because a lot of the songs don't have lyrics, so then I can make my own lyrics to it.
That's what I'm saying. I like electronic stuff. I think what I've started to I like trying to make the genre for myself was hard because I don't just try to make a genre. I just make what I'm making, and it's I have to classify. The one that I say first of all was originally romance and banter, which was like that, which was R&B. It was a play on R&B, romance and banter. So like that was the initial thing when I was still holding that. But what I want to describe it as is like electric lo-fi R&B. Like that's the best way to put it. Like it has the lo-fi hip hop vibe, but it's mostly R&B. And like I use electronic instruments or like a lot of electronic themes throughout it or things that most people would try only in electronic music, and I just put it in like so.
No, that's dope though. I like that. I like that. I'm gonna have to. I've listened, like I said, I've listened to some of your stuff, but I have to like go through. You say you dropped the album on the Eclipse, right?
Yeah. So that's so my producer handle name is Kid Orpheus. So that's like the producer stuff. The story of Orpheus being the homie with the lie went down to the underworld, didn't save his girl, but then after he didn't save her, he was able to understand how love worked through everything. Like he understood what love meant, and he would sing love songs about everything that's ever happened and still be able to have people feel and relate to it. So I like took that as like the producer thing. So
that's cool. So what inspires you to take that, like to do Kid Orpheus, like to take that name?
I have a Venus and Scorpio. I have like there are things that like, I understand. Like so when I heard that, I really did get it because it's like, I mean, not to make it as whatever, but I understand that like how love can move on and how sometimes you look back and then that thing goes because you looked back at that thing, it disappeared. And I've been through certain circumstances where like that was a trope or that was a thing, right? So kind of playing off of that type of like feeling and that type of idea, I wanted to bring it to like the Kid Orpheus. It's not the same story, but it's the same type of
No, I dig it. I like it because I'm Venus in Libra, but my progressed Venus is in Scorpio, so I definitely get that vibration. And it's like Venus in Scorpio is kind of like they probably. I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting energy because I find myself like being more attracted to these darker themes and stuff like that, and themes that people typically shy away from. But it's like the thing about Scorpio energy is that it's actually a very pure energy when you really get down to it. That's why they try and dig, and then they find like this purity. It's like they see, oh, there's a bunch of layers on top of this, but this is like a beautiful gem. I think Venus and Scorpio gets that. So it's like we may look at like a darker character or a darker theme, and we can like kind of see the purity and the light in that. But like on the outside, it may present itself as pretty dark and intense, or have these underworld like qualities.
Yo,
But there's like a beauty to that. Yeah.
it's because like I think the best way, like you put it a really good way, where it's like if we're on a beach, like let's say we're on the beach, like a Venus and Scorpio is on the beach, we'll walk somewhere and then it's like an X-ray vision and we see like this treasure underneath a bunch of like casts, like whatever, a bunch of like sand, a bunch of everything, and we'll just start digging there. Because and everyone's like, why are you digging through that? It's like, no, trust me, like underneath this there's something that's super valuable, and we'll just like rip apart everything, and people are like, what are you doing? And then we get to the bottom of it, and it's like the most pure thing. But some people don't like when you get through that sand. Like they're like, it feels invasive if it's not like properly accepted. And that's one thing I had to learn, where it was like I used to be very like push on, I used to be very forward. Now I'm like so chill to the point where people are like, can you like react to this? And I'm like, nah.
Dude, you said that analogy of like having X-ray vision and looking through the sand and you can see like the jewels, like I got chills and like I felt like this wave come over my body, because that's so true. But I think the reason why Venus doesn't like to be in Scorpio traditionally is that like you do kind of have to pick and choose who, especially when it comes to people or these situations, you almost have to like really be discerning of what really to dig into and what not, because you don't want to invade other people's privacy and stuff like that. So yeah, you might be able to pick and prod, you might be able to really feel to the depth of someone's value, but if they're not really willing to let you in, you can't really force yourself in there. But of course, with that Sag energy that you have, it's like you're gonna push buttons anyway. So it's like, you mean well. I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I'm thinking it's like for those that get close enough, yes, for sure. Like 100%. Like if someone's close enough to me, like that Cancer 8th house, once they accept that, it's like, dude, like I'm mad annoying. But you get what I'm saying? Like it has to be.
Venus and Scorpio, you probably have like an incredible ability. Like when people really get close to you, it's like you'll be able to show them something about themselves, like show them like this deep value, and they'll be like, they probably would have never really thought about it, or you may be able to bring up something about you may be able to bring up something out of someone that they thought that they've kept so many layers on, and you almost sort of bring it up with ease. It will probably Venus and Scorpio kind of reminds me of like almost like sort of like a psychologist or a psychiatrist, where they're able to just like tap into these levels, but then show you truly how valuable you are or how valuable a situation is. It's like they could take the darkest situations and be like, oh no, there's beautiful light here. There's like Venus and Scorpio is like, here's like a kind of a common example nowadays. People love to flip houses and stuff like that. It's like looking at a house that's decrepit and falling apart and being able to see the vision in it. It's like, no, this is actually a beautiful home. This is a beautiful place. And they're able to flip it and like really show people. They'll walk into the house and be like, is this the same place?
That's
like
8th, 9th house. Like that's like the 8th, 9th house, like how it interplays. And then 10th house is capped when they sell that house they flipped.
Exactly.
Like it's like they're like, oh, this is this new house. Now this house was all grand, even though it used to be like it looked like abandoned or whatever. Like it looked abandoned, and now it's like a freaking mansion. And then the 10th house is when you like take that mansion from that, then flip it, and then that's how you get the money, and that's where Cap comes in. But that's
Cap always coming in like that. It's like, yeah, it's they like to sit behind the scenes too. Like they control things from behind the scenes. A lot of times.
I used to like not like having Cap energy, but as of recently, and as I'm growing up, I'm like, nah. I really do like this. It's like, I don't know. Okay, we're selling this. Wait, are you? You get a cut. We already did it out for you. You get this amount. Look at this. You get that. Is everything good? Here's this contract. Sign it. Don't read it. Just sign it. Thank you. Perfect. Awesome.
That's so funny too, because like for me, I have quite a bit of Cap energy. Of course, my North Node is there. So this life, am supposed to come into my Capricorn energy. And now in my progress chart, it's in my first house. I'm almost supposed to like personify it. And it's like, it's kind of tough too, because like a part of me is like, I don't want the responsibility Like a part of me, like
True.
my Sag and my Pisces energy is coming to. I don't want this
Leave me alone.
responsibility of tapping into this cap.
Facts.
But then it's like I look at people like my brother, who is a Capricorn sun, and bless his heart. I think it's you see the eclipse that happens in Capricorn next year. I guess it's the new moon eclipse or whatever. It's going to be on his sun. So bless his heart, and Pluto's going to be there. So it's funny because I've been joking with him a lot lately about astrology, and he's not really into it like I am. But he'll say something sarcastic. He'll say something sarcastic, and I'm like, you know what? I mean, what you said was kind of messed up, but Pluto's on your sun, so I kind of give you a pass. And then he'll just look at me like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you know what I'm talking about.
He may not ask you now, but when that happens, he'll be like, help.
Yeah.
I think my favorite.
That's why I'm like, I'm like it's kind of funny with my family. It's like I don't think they necessarily get why I do the astrology and stuff like that, but they can see that I'm really passionate about it, and I do have like this gift at looking at the stars. And for me, I do astrology because I want to really empower people. I feel like I want to give people like their superpowers back, or like let them know what they always had. So it's like for me, I don't mind just like just putting out the information and stuff like that, and people will come when they come. And I know my family, I've looked at all their charts and stuff like that too. So honestly, my family story makes sense to me. Like so there's still some things where I'm just sort of like, I'm kind of like, why? But it's like, it makes sense to me. So it's like, I know that I'm sort of like this weird kind of outlier within my family, where it's like, I'm studying this esoteric art, and, I may talk about the stuff around them and they may not necessarily get it, but I know that one day they'll come around and they'll start asking me more questions. And I'm not doing it for them to like, I don't want them to be just like dependent upon me for that sort of stuff, because I want to empower them. I want to get to the point where I don't have to necessarily do readings for people anymore. I think that's where society, I feel like we want to go. It's like we don't necessarily want to have to do readings for people, because people know. They'll know their energies. They'll know those stars. They'll know their planets. They'll know their chart. And we'll probably still talk about it, but there won't necessarily be a need to like read people's charts. And I feel like
I'm back.
I feel like that's kind of where we're going anyways. But I think it's going to be a long road to get there, because we're not going to get there overnight. So but yeah, I like to joke with astrology. I like to joke astrology stuff around them. And it's funny to put it, because it's getting to the point where it's like, my dad asked me, he was like, yo, is there anything crazy that happened last week that explains why this week was so intense? And I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. Like, do you want the long-winded version, or do you want like the tidbit version? Yeah.
Thanks. I think it's fun. So, for example, with me, I don't tell people I do astrology. It's like, if you know, you know. Like, I don't hide it from anyone. Like, I'm just like, yeah, I do astrology. People don't know how deep it is either. And then sometimes they're like, oh, I don't know too much about astrology. So, for example, with my job right now, I like gave really basic readings to like a bunch of people in the office just because they were there. And it was funny because they weren't even like people that believed in astrology per se, but I was able to break it down. Like, they were really open to it, because just like, oh, look, what's up, what's this? And I was like, oh, cool. So I gave them a basic rundown. I didn't even go into outer planets, nothing. And they're like, how did you know all of that? And I'm like, I'm just reading the chart. Like, I wasn't even looking at them. I'm literally just looking at their chart. Like, oh, blah, 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 blah. It's cool just to see how like even the people that don't believe in it. Like, they're like, no, this can't be.
Yeah, I love doing that. It's like, for me, I'm open about people ask me like, what do you like to do? Oh, I like to do astrology. I study astrology, and I practice it and work with it and stuff. And but I'm not sitting here like telling every person on the street that I'm an astrologer and stuff like that. But I've done like little mini readings for people like that, and I'll explain different things and stuff. And it's funny too, because like people like say if I work with them, whatever, I'll ask them, it's like, oh, so when's your birthday? And then I start to figure out, oh, so this is the dynamic of this place, this is the dynamic of this place. And then it's real fun too, especially when you get to know people's moon sign. That's really when it gets fun, because everyone knows their sun sign, but I feel like the next step is getting people to know their moon and their rising. Like those big three, sun, rising. Like everyone knows their sun, but it's like say you have like a Aries sun and a Cancer moon, right? Like they may not necessarily feel like they're in Aries because like their moon sign is it's in sign of Cancer and it's home and it's it's that sort of thing. So it's like they may not necessarily really feel like it. I mean, whereas you, it's like, yeah, you're in Aries rising, but then your sun and moon in Sag. So it's like you probably really actually resonate and like really feel like you are a Sagittarius. I don't always feel like I'm a Scorpio because I feel like there are times where I feel more Piscean, I'm tapping more into that.
You're definitely more Pisces than Scorpio, but that's because the 1 to 12th house influence. Like I feel like, so for example, I think people are their moon sign. Like people are their moon sign.
Same.
People move like their sun sign, and then people's energy in their aura is their rising sign. So it's like, for me, it's like one and the same. So I don't think in terms of that. But when I do speak to someone and they really get into something, and it's like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, I'm Aries, I don't feel that way. It's like, of course you're not gonna feel this way. You have a Cancer moon. Like if you're a Cancer moon, you're just a Cancer moon. Like your sun doesn't matter at that point. You're a Cancer moon. Like the moon takes advantage in that sign. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny too because like sometimes like I will get into arguments with people and I really try not to do that sort of stuff. But I'll get into arguments with people and then like in my head, and I did this one time like on Facebook, which was really fucking hilarious. Yeah, I did this one, and I haven't done it since because like I don't like getting into political arguments and all that sort of stuff like that. But like going back and forth in this weird banter with people, and then in my head I'm like, you probably don't even know your moon sign. And like for me, it's like a diss almost. It's like I'm throwing shades. Like you don't even know your moon sign, do you?
What's that? Tell me what it is. I know what that is.
Like, I actually wrote that on Facebook. I got into like this weird Facebook argument. It was like this was like a month ago or something like that. Yeah. I straight up was like, you probably don't even know your moon sign, do you? And like they probably thought I was weird, but I'm just laughing to myself. And I'm just like, this is so retarded. Why am I even engaging with this? But yeah,
it's just there's some things are just like stupid. Just like
I feel like that's the new age this. Like you don't even know your moon sign. You probably don't know your Mercury or your Venus.
You don't even know your moon.
You don't know what house your sun is in. What?
You don't even know your birthday.
Like, yeah, but see, that's the thing that's what I love about astrology is that you can have someone born on the same day, but their sun's in different houses based off of what time they're born at.
And they're mad different.
And then they're mad different. That's the cool thing about it. It's like you can have a Scorpio sun who probably feels authentically like a Scorpio because it's in the 8th house, but then you can have one that's like a 3rd house Scorpio sun.
Be like
Gemini. Yeah, that's the cool thing about it.
An edgy Gemini. Yeah, you are. Like that's like 3rd house Scorpio just sounds like an edgy Gemini. Like that's just.
It does. It sounds like an edgy Gemini. Like just like it gives me like this whole like this dark humor, dark comedy type of deal. That's another thing I want to get into is comedy, but I feel like that's going to be like my late 30s, late 40s.
Long journey. Yeah, I understand. Like,
yeah,
I want to do stand up once just to say I did it, but I don't know fully. I feel like
I listen to quite a few. Like I listen to like Bill Burr's podcast. I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast.
Oh, Joe Rogan.
And, I love like watching comedy on like I don't watch comedy all the time on Netflix, but like especially if I need like a really good pick me up, if I'm not having a good day, it's like watching comedy specials on Netflix or whatever is like so fun. It's great.
For sure.
And I feel like it's an art form. It does kind of like comedy is like it does kind of go along that Gemini Sagittarius axis because it's like Gemini, you're communicating with people and stuff like that, and you're talking about maybe sort of these everyday things, but then you bring in the experience and the adventure and the philosophy with Sagittarius. But I'm not saying I haven't done stuff and I haven't been adventurous, but like some of these comics I hear about things that they've done, I'm like, dang, they make my life sound boring.
Nah,
So
they
that's
just
why I
know.
want to try comedy like later after I've
Nah, I understand.
had more experiences under my belt.
One thing I had this realization of the other day, and I was on Twitter one day and I just thought about it, and I was like, you want to know what it is? I was like, Sag thinks everything's funny because they know everyone's being serious. Like jokes, even like with certain jokes, like people are being mad serious, but it's funny.
Right.
Like that's why comedy's so great, because they'll say something that's so abruptly true that it's like you have to laugh. It's like, what? Someone did that? It's like, no, that's absurd. It's like, nah, like this is serious. Like it is funny, but this is mad serious. Like this happened. So the reason why I'm like, yo, Sag thinks everything is so funny because they know everyone's being mad serious. It's like, why?
They get it. They get that it's a big cosmic joke. And that's
It
like,
is.
you don't have to take everything so seriously. You really don't.
Part of my journey is to show people that things aren't as serious as they like pipe it out to be. Not in case of being like to disengage with whatever people have gone through, but just because it's like, yo, like you're in this space right now with enough energy to fully complain to me about something else when you could have taken that same time frame and then like done something with it.
Right.
I'm not saying that for every case, and obviously, like, there's going to be real situations where you're going to have to like speak and confide and etc. But like, if it's something petty and small, or like something like, what I'm saying, it's like, oh, you're not mad at that. For example, I don't get mad at things that people necessarily do. I get mad at the principle behind the things that they do. In certain cases, where it's like,
that's definitely me too.
Yeah, like, so if someone does something and like screw up with me, I'm like, all right, whatever. If I'm like, hey, I hate when people spell my name in the color green. I don't know. That's not real, but whatever. And then they show up and they're like, green color. It's like, yo, that's like the one thing I told you. Like, why are you going to spell my name in green? I don't like that. Whatever. And like I said, stupid example. But that's why it's like, it's to me, I'm like, yo, that's just like how people are. People have very everyone is quirky. They have like a quirk to them. They have something to them that makes them them. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like you have to just respect where people are with stuff and let it be. Because when you start being an asshole about it, it's just funny. Because it's like, why are you so mad?
Why so serious? Why are you mad? You mad, bro? Like, or big mad? That's the other one. Yeah, big mad. People get big mad. Because like, it's only going to get worse too. Huh?
I'll be joking, and like I'll just be joking and just be like, "Oh, you mad? Whatever." But like, I also realize that sometimes when people push back, my Aries comes out, and I'm like, "Yo, you playing?"
Funny though. No,
that's just true. Jump out, and I don't even know, but I get mad antagonistic, and I'm like, "What you want?"
It's like, you don't want to smoke. You don't want to.
You don't want to smoke. Anybody could get it, but
no, that's real. That's funny. I don't have Aries energy. I have my part of fortune there, but that's it. So it's like, it's weird because like I don't really get like any major planets until like the latter half. So I don't have really any major planets in Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer besides the South Node, and then Leo, which is my Chiron. So it's like,
yeah, I only have Aries, Virgo, and Leo. I don't have the other ones in between.
Yeah.
You have no Taurus, no Gemini.
So you're Pluto, Sag, and then you still have Neptune and Uranus in Capricorn, do you?
Neptune. Oh no, Neptune's in Cap, but my Uranus is in Aquarius.
Oh, okay, that's right.
My Uranus is 2 degrees Aquarius. Yeah, it threw me out too, but like it's in Aquarius because I'm like right.
They traveled together for like most like a good part of the early 90s.
They definitely did. But having Uranus in Aquarius is interesting because it's like I get along so much with the like Aquarius vibration, like so much. Like they're little schemesters, and I love them. Like.
My partner is an Aquarius, which is funny because like Scorpio and Aquarius, you would think that we don't get along.
Totally do. definitely do.
No, we do. Scorpio and Aquarius is like they are like secretly like totally in love with each other, but then we have to play like we're not. We have to play like Scorpio. We're so deep into our emotions that Aquarius can't stand it, and then like we just are trying to get Aquarius to just feel something, just show me some feeling.
Yeah, and Aquarius is just there like make me feel, and then Scorpio is there just like prove me wrong, tell me I'm
right. That's the thing. It's like we will debate anyone, but it's like Aquarius is like our match. It's like it's funny too. I don't know how she does it. There are times where she will one up me on something, and I'm like, I don't even know how you did that. It's like you just
did you pull this
your Aquarius bag of tricks, and you keep up with some crazy logic that I can't even like front with, and I'm like, okay, I'll get you next time. But it's like,
nah, for sure. That's how Aquarius energy is. Like, it's so random. But it's weird. It's like I can track where it kind of goes just because I'm a Sag. Like I get what they're trying to do, but how they do it, I don't comprehend. Like
I don't get how they do it.
Like I can see, yeah.
I don't know how they do it. Like I see like what they're doing, stuff like that, and I get it, but I don't know their method.
I see the win. I know the effect, but I don't know how they do it in between. And I think that's my favorite. My favorite part about Aqua and Pisces is like, even though I know what they're getting at and how they're doing it, I'm also like, how did you pull that off?
Yeah,
I'm a fan. Like, I've done a bunch of weird, random shit that doesn't make any sense. But like, you know what I'm saying? But to see them do it, I'm like, or like I've seen one of my Aqua friends. He's like, I'm gonna do this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen, and then that's gonna happen, and I'm gonna do that. And I was like, okay, go ahead. And he did it, and I was like, those things didn't. It was like
they didn't match up. They didn't necessarily correlate. Like it's crazy. The sequencing is like I just kind of want to get into like the mind of an Aquarius for like a day just to see like how their mind works and stuff like that. But I feel like I'll just get overloaded with so much information. Like it's it's crazy. I think what's cool about me and my partner too is because since I'm a Scorpio in the 12th house, her Aquarius is actually in her 9th house. So there's that whole Piscean Sagittarian kind of vibe that we bring.
Yeah.
And so it's like, even though it's a square, since they're both ruled by Jupiter, they kind of understand each other.
Yo, Sag energy and Pisces energy get along. Like,
yeah, they get along.
Like a lot of people are like, oh, there's just like, no, we get along unless like. Now we generally just get along. Like, to be honest, it's like.
I think they generally go. I think what happens is that sometimes Sag and Pisces can kind of get lost, and they can kind of like, they can go like on a trip, whatever like that. But then Pisces will just like be way out there sometimes, even for Sag. It's
the emotion part. That the only time that I don't, I can see why they feel that way, but I can't feel that way because I can just imagine how that feels. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, I'm closest. The people that I'm closest with all have like pretty much Pisces energy. Like those are my people, my 4th house. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, those are my people. But or Sag's 4th house is Pisces. But it's like, I don't know. Like, I've always gotten along with them. They've always been like, they just have an emotional standpoint that I just can't grasp. Like, like, how do you care about?
It's a very advanced sign, though. It's very.
You have a moon in Pisces, so that's how you're always, because it's a sensitivity. It's like Sagittarius are sensitive people, but we're not like. We have a different type of sensitive. We're more
sensitive because Pisces moon, I'm Pisces moon, but like Pisces energy is like this super sponge of emotions, and it's the emotions of everyone around them. Whereas Cancer is kind of good at returning to the shell, and Scorpio is good at just like cutting off things so they don't necessarily feel it. Pisces will just absorb it. And like, there's like nothing you really can do about it. All you really can do is process it.
That's let it flow out. I don't get it. I can't. Like, there's something in my head that just doesn't let me fathom that. I'm just like, because I can understand you walk by someone random on the street, and next thing you know, you just like feel whatever they just felt like.
Right.
Like I'm glad I have this block where I've kind of learned how to. But for y'all don't have a choice, and it's like, yo, that's.
I think that's why I like having my moon in the 4th house, because it does allow me to, like, I'm able to absorb a lot of these. I absorb all these energies, but then it's like, you know, I do have this choice of like when I kind of come back into my shell and kind of retreat and go into my sanctuary. That's why it's really important for me to have like a calm and just like a feel good like home life, you know, for me.
Sure.
So it's like I try to keep my space, you know, calm. So it's like when I come home, like this is my sanctuary, and it's like any energies that I had naturally just sponged up and absorbed throughout the day, I can come home and just sort of like it can just be released and purified if I keep my space, you know, nice and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the thing about Pisces. Of course, I feel it with the moon. Pisces sun people do it on a whole nother level. I don't know how they do it, man.
I don't get it. I love them for it, but I don't get it. Like I'm just like shit. Like I get in my feeling in a different way, and I'll probably just put it into like musical, or I'll do something with it. But like having really experienced them, I don't know. Like as they come to.
Yeah, it's sad. Like you could imagine what it was like to feel that way, and then Pisces like really does feel it. So it's like for me, it's like I do channel a lot of it through like either it'll be painting or writing and stuff like that. And then sometimes I'm like, crap, it's not enough. Like what I do next. So it's like a lot of times then what I'll do is like this is when like for me like watching anime or TV or playing video games is really helpful, because it actually allows me to just like kind of zone out.
Yeah.
And then just naturally just like, all right, I'm good. Like it's kind of relieves things.
Always notice with like Pisces people is y'all could like really, when you take like time and chance to like, let's say like play a game or do something like that, y'all do it. Y'all live it. Y'all just kind of like
we go in.
This zone out that happens. It's like I've seen it. Like I'm saying, I'm really close.
Meditation in a sense.
It is. Yo, my friend will be playing a game and like he'll be like from like whatever, and like his face just kind of like his eyes go all like Pisces, and he's just like there. You know what I'm saying?
When you're really in it, like if you're really getting into it, I don't really think too much. I don't have a lot of thoughts when I'm playing games.
Okay, word. No, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so it's like it's actually kind of meditative. It's like people might think that you're kind of zonked out or zombied out, but it's like for me, I love video games. Like I'm gonna play until the day I drop. Like they're really fun, and it is kind of like a form of meditation, you know.
For sure.
I mean, it doesn't replace some things like, you know, going outside and putting your feet in the dirt and doing breathing exercises, but it definitely does help. And it's like I encourage everyone to play video games, you know, honestly.
I mean, I feel like there just should be like, for example, I feel like this is kind of off topic, but I think people should take the stigma off video games so hard, because I really stopped and thought about it. And I was like, I went through 4 years of college. If I really sat here and think about it, I've probably learned more collectively from playing video games and watching anime than I actually have in like real school. And that's kind of sad. Like I've gotten.
It is kind of sad.
I've gotten around way more things from just watching like anime, researching one thing, and then understanding a whole bunch of other stuff that it was related to. Then in comparison to like being in class, like
exactly. Yeah,
if you were so good at it, why aren't you
getting revamped too? So many things are getting revamped.
Everything all the establishments ever are pretty much getting revamped. I'm interested to see how that happens. I'm interested if they're actually going to integrate what the people want, or if they're going to actually crumple and then we have to do it ourselves. That's what I'm kind of like. I'm at that point where I'm like, I wonder which one it will be.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that too, because like for me, it's like a part of me, like, you know, I want to have the discipline to work on my things and like kind of establish myself and have my own business. But at the same time, I see that the system is crashing, so I'm like, I don't want to like establish something and then like I'm not Like the system that it was developed in is no more. And then like it's like what happens then? So it's like it makes me kind of lazy in a sense. Where it's like I want to do it, but I don't because the system's crashing anyways. So what's the point? But then it makes you kind of feel apathetic. And then I'm like, well, it's not because of making money. It's because I genuinely enjoy doing this stuff.
For sure.
And I tell myself that. I think that's what this Mercury retrograde is kind of helping with, and Mars and the Sun there.
It's do like, it for the love,
you
because
enjoy it.
Do it for the love, because then it's going to align you to what you actually want to do. Were you about to try to post cards and stuff?
Yeah, I just wanted to pull one Oracle card. This is my Sacred Traveler Oracle deck.
Oh, bet.
So, we've been live for over 2 hours, I think, actually.
Probably. I wouldn't doubt it.
Because honestly, I feel like the time's just kind of flown by. But I just wanted to draw.
This happens to me. You don't know. Like I'm the type of person where like, I can talk for like a mad long time and be like, oh, we talked for like
a
long ass. You know what I'm saying?
But I haven't even really been keeping up with the comments and stuff. Oh, wow, my phone died, so I'd have to pull it up on my.
I'll see if there's anything that's pertinent right now that needs to.
Let's see. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, looks like the chat's just kind of rolling. Hold on. I'm going to refresh my. Okay, here we go.
Hello, chat.
Let's see what's going on.
Sorry for any person.
What happened?
No, I'm just reading through.
Okay.
Like I'm reading through like what I haven't seen.
Let's see. Let's do Nikki Angutang. But the PlayStation VR is amazing. I haven't tried that yet.
Like
but that's what I grew up. I grew up with PlayStation, so.
Wait, so Nikki said a while back, she said, if there's one thing that you want everyone to know during this transit, imagine it's the last time you'll have the Sherry match. What would you tell us? For this transit, for this Leo season, I'm gonna take the transit part as Leo season. But if there's anything to know for this Leo season, is that your heart's gonna pretty much explode with passion, which sounds really weird, but I just was looking at the actual transits, and this transits for this month are way more chill than last month, but everything kind of reaches this like new trigger point. So every transit this month is like a trigger point to the next event that Leo season will bring, because Leo season is all about events and things that happen on a stage type platform. So it's kind of like things are going to be handed to you as like this is this event, this is that event. So I guess the best way to put it is like keep your passion going throughout every event and shift and change and experience, because you are that star of that show, because it's your show and your perception. So like do the damn thing. I feel like.
I like that. Yeah, if I had to say something, I honestly would kind of keep it simple, and I would be just like, don't sweat the small stuff, enjoy your life. Just keeping it simple, because like this Leo season, it is going to be lighter than this Cancer season and stuff. And Leo season, it's like actors, actresses, it's movies. It's like like we're wrapping up these cycles in many ways, and it's like, it's like now it's like the movie's being premiered, and we're like walking the red carpet and all that sort of stuff, and it can be fun and sensationalized and stuff. And but then we'll hit Virgo season afterwards, which is like reality hits. But it's like really, if you keep it simple and you don't sweat the small stuff, when it gets to Virgo season, you're not necessarily going to feel like you have to hammer out all the details. It's like you already were in your heart expressing your joy and your passion. The small details will take care of itself.
But so yeah, the details are going to align themselves for you the more that you like in your heart in comparison to
exactly.
That's one thing I think this Leo season integrating is going to be like, the more that you push the heart into things, the more that I almost feel like Virgo is going to bring people in.
Uh-oh. Froze there for a second. Oh no, what happened? No. What happened? Oh, man. Looks like did we lose him? My phone's dead too, so I can't just Instagram him. What happened, guys? We were going in as usual, and the freaking what happened? Oh my. Okay, here we go. Chat's gonna come back in a second. No. Oh, Leo. You wants to come see me? So we went in. This was fun though. Yeah, I'm still alive. It's okay. Oh my goodness. Leo, come on. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Well, Chad the Maverick is reconnecting. We hope that you all have enjoyed this so far. As you can see, we can just talk forever and ever and ever. And this is what I love about community and the internet and stuff. It's like really finding these like-minded people, and it's just really cool how this technology allows us to connect like this. My cat's name is Leo, and he is a Leo. I don't know his moon sign. We got him when he was 5 years old from a humane society, but his name is Leo, and I actually did figure out his birthday, and he actually is a Leo sun. So I don't know if the person who had the cat before knew astrology, but it just happened to work out that way, and he's very much so like a Leo too. It's funny. It's like, where is he?
Hello, is it working?
I don't know. You there?
Yeah, we back.
Yes, we are back.
Hey.
All right. You say you had some connectivity issues?
Yeah, I'm good now, but the Wi-Fi went out for a second.
Okay, it happens. It happens. You see, we were going in. We were talking about what this Leo season, and then bam.
Every time. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when I go hard live, I feel like it's like, all right, whatever. It is what it is. I said what I said.
Fast. I'm like, really, guys? Is y'all don't want this smoke? These dark forces, as the Peace Dealer would say. But are you still there?
Hello? They're trying it now. They're like, okay.
Now they're trying.
Before it was like, okay, whatever. Now they're like, oh.
Because I called them out. You saw that too. Like, I bet if I hadn't called them out, they wouldn't have tried us.
That's fine.
But now they're trying us. Whatever. You can't stop the message from coming out. There's so many of us too. That's another thing too. It's like there's so many of us now.
Yes.
It's like we've hit critical mass. Like now it's just about like being ourselves and getting into the heart and really expressing our joy and our passion.
It's almost in a way, and you're gonna get what I mean when I say it. It's almost like this quote unquote spirituality. We're almost supposed to like go away from. It's not go away from it, but it's like we're not supposed to like cling to it. It's weird. It's like I've been noticing, even though I've like been as spiritual as I've been like, it's been in comparison to me being all like, everyone needs to meet me where this is at. Everyone needs to, and maybe this is because my North Node's in Libra, but it's like I'm supposed to be kind of like meeting people where they are for conversation purposes. I can lead them up if the conversation permits it, but I'm not like going to come up to someone being like, "Hey, what star system are you from?" They're like, "Huh?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I totally get what you're saying.
Like-
too. It's like I feel like, and I think that's probably part of also this whole South Node that's going to come into Sag too, where it's like, you know, beliefs are definitely powerful, but it's like, how far are you going to take it to where you start to get kind of delusional about it and you start kind of leading people down the wrong path? Because Sag energy does kind of give me the sort of quote unquote preacher vibes or like a great orator, but then you can have a preacher that does inspire and motivate people, or like a motivational speaker, because that's what preachers are. They're motivational speakers.
Very true.
But you can also have one that makes everyone drink Kool-Aid and everyone dies in like 5 minutes. So it's like,
yeah,
you know,
that's why it's neutral, because it's like, you know, I could be promoting something that helps people, like, you know, Astro, or I could be on like some other wave where I'm not helping people, but people going to be like,
yeah.
you
And
know,
then you also have to be careful when you are in this position where you're speaking your truth and you're sharing this information, sharing this spiritual esoteric knowledge. You have to be kind of wary that, you know, you are human too. You're part of this experience, and it's like, you know, that's kind of the weird thing is that people will kind of look to you for advice and stuff like that, but then it's like while they're looking to you for advice, you're looking to other people for advice, and you may be looking for advice in people who aren't as outwardly spiritual as you.
yeah,
And then they'll say something and be like, damn, like, are you sure you're not like meditating like every day, something like that? And it's funny how it works.
That's one thing I need to, like, I guess, convey to people, because I've been realizing, I'm like, although I realize everything that happens is because it happens for like a reason. Like there's something that connects with it. Like I can off hear someone saying something in a hallway, and if for some reason they'll connect something to like a thought I had 20 days ago. Like it's mad random. Life is so non-linear. Like
it's very non-linear. It's like I can pick up on, like you said, like a conversation that I'm not even a part of, and it's like they'll say something that's like a synchronicity to something that happened to me, you know, like several hours before, or maybe a day before, and I'm like, is this like a joke? Like what's going on here? I feel like it almost feels like, you know, kind of like you're almost on like the set of like a play, and then they like you have the person on the side. It's like, all right, go in. Like this is your time to like walk into the scene, and it's like it almost feels that way. It's like it feels like I'm on the set of like this big cosmic play.
It is.
And like I'm like, I don't know I'm in the play, and then like everyone else knows it's a play, and then like I'm starting to become aware of the play, and it's weird. It's like. Is everyone just going to like suddenly just start like come out and start laughing at me and be like, haha, now you get it and stuff like that?
Yeah.
It's like it's this whole what's it called? It's like I think it's like a Chinese, like some type of Chinese proverb or whatever, where it's like trying to catch the bull's tail, and it's like you look around a corner and you see the tail of a bull kind of like moving, but you can never see the entire bull. That's kind of how it works. It's like when you get these epiphanies or these great nirvanas and stuff, it's like you only get like a small bit of it, but it's can be so profound, but you only catch like the tip of it. So it's like you know, we can be these motivators and these, you know, we can speak our truth and stuff like that. And it's beautiful, and we need to do that. So we need to express this because, you know, this information needs to come out and people need to really know about it, or at least know it's okay to talk about it. But then at the end of it, we're going to realize that we're pretty much all the same. We don't really know what we're doing, but we're doing the best that we can. And let's talk about it. It's okay.
I always that. I was like, I feel like life got better. Got so much better for me when I really finally understood I just don't know anything. I'm like,
yeah. The further one goes, the less one knows. That's the thing. It's like you have to, like, if you've gotten to the point where you know everything and you can't be teachable, like you're done.
There's no point. Yeah,
like
there's no point. Like at that
there's no point. You got to be teachable, no matter what level you're at. You've got to be teachable.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
It's
yeah.
Like I could speak to like a 5-year-old, and they'll just like, oh my goodness, I had a conversation the other day. I went to the barbershop and I met this little girl there, and this was so weird. This was like this was like kind of during like those eclipses and stuff like that. But I went to the barbershop, and there was this little girl there, and I had finished getting my hair cut, and I was just kind of hanging around. They had a pool table there. I was shooting pool and stuff like that with one of the barbers. And then this little girl started talking to me, just talking about, random stuff, being a kid. And she was like, yeah, that guy over there is getting his hair cut. That's my babysitter. That's not my dad. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then she started just pretty much telling me her life story. It's like, yeah, my dad's in jail. And I'm like, okay. I don't know why you're telling a total random stranger that your dad's in jail. And then she was like, yeah, he's going to be in jail for 20-something years. And I'm like, what the hell did he do? Why are you telling me this? I'm sitting here like, I feel gutted for this little girl. But she just seemed like kind of like happy-go-lucky. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like,
that's a Pluto Cap kid too.
That my father wasn't in jail. And
that's
I got
Pluto Cap kid. Pluto Cap kids are like, yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it happened. And I'm like, dude, like I'm sitting here like I'm thinking like, yo, like this could be potentially traumatic. There's gonna be some shadow work here, but I'm also thinking like this. She's 5, so she
should be good. It's because the reality is different. Like they're like,
yeah,
it's a thing, whatever. Like
I'm like, it's not whatever. That's a big freaking deal.
Right,
why
I know, like for us, it's like, but if I was like, it's cool, have a good time.
Oh my gosh, but like it's funny, little kids will teach you so much. It's crazy.
Because they teach you that like everything's not that serious as long as you have the things you need. Like have the things you need and you're like kind of set. Like
exactly.
Did they eat? Cool. Did they get sleep? Cool. Did they go to the bathroom properly? A+. Like it's kind
exactly. So it's like, just if I have really a message for anyone, it's like get into your heart space and don't sweat the small stuff. The details will take care of themselves. Be teachable, learn something new every day, even if it's something like really, really small, just like life is a journey. It's meant to be experienced, and you're meant to have fun and not take things so seriously. And there will be serious moments. There will be difficult moments and stuff like that, learning points, but it's a fun journey. I'm excited to see where things are going. I'm really excited. I'm excited to do more chats like this. We'll probably finish up here in a bit. It's getting a little late, but this has been a very, very fun chat talk.
Thank you for having me, fam.
Absolutely. I'm gonna go ahead and just draw a quick card and see what we get. Oh my goodness. Guys, we have Voyage of the Heart. Love flows through you and to you. Voyage, which is very Sagittarius-like energy.
That's hilarious. That's the funniest.
That's the sun in Leo, Mars in there, with the heart. And then the voyage is that Sag energy, that trine to Jupiter. Like, your heart's going to take you to places that you could have never thought was possible. But your heart always knew it was true. You just got to trust.
I need to pause that real quick. I want to see it. I need to see now.
All right, so here we go. We bring
the way that popped up, I was like, hold up. I just need to because hope we got Voyage of the Heart. I just want to see how it what I'm saying, they incorporate. So
that's amazing. Yeah,
I have the Rider Waite. I only have the Rider Waite. I need to get different ones at some point, but let's see what we get.
I have so many decks of cards. I probably have 13 or 14 different decks.
So it's the Hierophant. So we got the Hierophant right here. In this Voyage of the Heart, you have to understand that you are your own Pope and Pastor in a sense. It's hard to explain. It's like you're your own essence. You're your own authority figure when it comes to your spirituality. You're your own figurehead. You're able to give into this heart type space. And the reason why is because down the bottom of the deck, I have the moon. So like
beautiful.
the moon card with the Hierophant, I feel like that's just showing that it's like you're really trying to gain a stability on like your inner facets. And the moon very much represents who you are. It doesn't represent your heart, it represents like who you are. It's like that voyage piece. So you're going on this voyage of the heart, understanding that you're the Hierophant of everything, and also gaining and really feeling through the waves that are being pushed towards you. That's kind of what I'm getting from just that quick thing and that bit. I was just like,
That's
I need to
awesome.
put something with that.
Oh yeah. It's like I saw. It's like as soon as like it's like I know you were gonna go get your cards. I was like, dude,
I was
that's
like,
crazy. That at the bottom of my deck we have First Light,
yeah,
which is kind of cool because it's like a sun and a moon, and then you have the leaf there.
that's
And
what's
it
up.
says beginning a new cycle. So just kind of how we said earlier is like you can begin a new cycle. Every day is a new cycle. Every day is a new beginning. So it's like, you know, it was interesting because like I was listening to Ralph Smart earlier, Infinite
Wow,
Waters, diving
diving
deep
deep
once
once
again.
again.
I used to watch him a lot, and I'm still subscribed to him, and I watch him every so often. But he was talking about like, you have to have something to like. What are the tricks to like waking up early in the morning, whatever like that? And ironically, being productive is like if you have something that you love and that you really find genuine joy in, you're gonna wake up for it. You're gonna go do it. So it's like I'm not saying that you have to just wake up at 5 o'clock, but it's like if you wake up every day and you have something to look forward to, it's like that energy is really going to carry you through. And it really is. I love how you drew the Hierophant and the moon because there's that feeling quality. We're going to get that new moon in Leo coming up next week. And then the Hierophant, it's like, it does give that kind of preacher vibe, but it's also like, preachers and motivational speakers, they're like pep talks. They give you a pep talk to try and get your energy going. So it's like, you have to be able to give yourself that pep talk.
For sure.
Other people can give you that pep talk. We can speak motivational stuff and tell you these things all day till we're blue in the face, but you got to give yourself that pep talk too.
You are your
That's the
own,
most
your
important
own
part of
capital.
pep talk,
Yeah,
is the one you give yourself. Yeah,
that's what's up. Word.
I love that. That's great. Well, I think that this was a incredible video. We're gonna have to definitely do more of these.
For sure, man.
But just any closing thoughts or just ideas or anything that you want to put out there for people to know, and where can people reach you if they want to like listen
Oh,
to your
facts.
music or book reading and stuff?
True. So the best way is just search up Chad the Maverick on YouTube. That's my channel. If you click on my channel, I just put out a video recently, which is the transits for this upcoming week. So if you go to that, if you want to get linked down, all my links are like literally in the YouTube, and it brings you to all my Instagram, Twitter. Twitter is more fun. Instagram and Twitter. And then my music is Kid Orpheus, and they'll have the link to stream the album if y'all would want to hear that. But yeah, that's pretty much that.
Awesome,
Oh,
and I'll be sure to link those in the description below. I'm gonna after the broadcast, and for those of you who want to look at that, I'll refresh the page, and then they'll be linked in the description below.
yeah.
And I'll put all that stuff there too. But yeah, guys, enjoy Leo season. It's going to
Facts.
be a fun one. You're definitely gonna feel more light and stuff, and there'll be some challenges there, of course, with this nodal axis and this Mercury retrograde. But I really do feel like this is gonna be a fun time, to really just get into our heart. It's the voyage of the heart, and it's just like, kind of being that authority of love in your life, giving that to yourself. So definitely enjoy it, live it up. It's going to be a good ride, and we're all here to help each other out. And yeah, keep it simple. Don't sweat the small stuff. It's a big cosmic joke. Like, like it's everything's all good. So,
Yes, sir.
but yeah, this has been amazing. I really once again thank you, Chad the Maverick, for coming on. This has been really fun.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that. For
Absolutely. And definitely, guys, be sure to stick around. I'm gonna, of course, be bringing out more videos and stuff this week, and definitely go subscribe to Chad the Mavericks channel. And definitely, I know I'm gonna be taking a listen to your music and stuff too, because I
yo.
absolutely love music. So, we'd love to support you in that too. So, but yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining us on this very fun, somewhat long video. If you stuck with us this whole time, thank you so much. I really do appreciate the love. We appreciate it.
For sure.
Yeah, we'll see you on next time. And as always, my beautiful brothers and sisters, always remember to keep moving forward, to stay focused, and Yahoo! Smile often. Thank you, guys.